Chapter 1405. It's like this. We should be working together for a while in the future, Qiu Yao said. Soon, Qiu Yao explained to everyone that they would form a special task force to carry out some special tasks. They didn't have any special opinions about this. Anyway, they were just here to help or to gain experience. Among these people, Qiu Yao was the only warrior in the late stage of the half-step celestial realm. Although Yi Shiwen wasn't, his combat strength had undoubtedly stepped into the celestial realm. However, among these people, the one responsible for organizing and coordinating was Qiu Yao. There was no other reason, because she was a disciple of the Heavenly Rain Palace and the Master here. Everyone, according to the discussion between the higher-ups of our Heavenly Rain Palace and the elders, we will form a special task force. Qiu Yao glanced at everyone and said. Everyone who wasn't familiar with each other began to get familiar after the discussion. This time, our task is to destroy a mine set up by the Cold Whale clan in the sea and kill them all. After destroying it, we can retreat, Qiu Yao said. This isn't a problem at all. There's no need for so many of us to come together. Lan Zhenglong said with some dissatisfaction. Celestial Realm experts weren't that cheap. Any Celestial Realm expert was enough to take charge of an area. They were the backbone and pillar of any sect. Now that so many Celestial Realm experts were gathered together, it was more or less like using a sledgehammer to crack a nut. It's like this. Because this mine is very close to the Cold Whale clan's territory, it can be said that it won't take long for a large number of Cold Whale clan experts to come to help. We naturally don't doubt your strength, but considering that we need to solve everything cleanly in a short period of time, we still gathered everyone together. Qiu Yao said. Everyone was silent for a moment and agreed with Qiu Yao's words. Indeed, their strength was more than enough to raid a stronghold. Even if there were Celestial Realm experts in the other side's mine, they could retreat unscathed. After all, they weren't ordinary Celestial Realm experts. Being able to cultivate to the Celestial Realm in a few hundred years was already shocking enough. But if it was to destroy everything in the shortest time possible, they didn't have the confidence to do so. This was the way of the assassin. Once the attack failed, they would immediately flee 1,000 miles away. Then let's go. Don't waste any more time, Ding Butong said lightly. Everyone then stepped on the waves and rushed into the sea. At their level of cultivation, there was naturally no obstacle for them in the sky or in the water. This mine should have been opened not too long ago. Otherwise, it wouldn't have taken so long to discover it. Since it's close to the Frost Whale tribe's territory, we didn't touch them to avoid alerting them, Qiu Yao said, while moving stealthily to avoid the waves. Although it was easy to be ambushed by enemy forces while mining, no one knew how long this battle would last. In this case, it would be better to mine while fighting. Even if they had to fight until the end of time, it wouldn't affect their mining. Some of the mines closest to their territories were already full of mines, but as they finished mining the nearby mines, they had no choice but to expand outwards. At this time, the three parties realized that they might be mining the same mineral vein. Thus, disputes arose, and they even fought over it. The five of them were all extremely powerful, and soon, they had walked far away. Kill! 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 At this time, a burst of battle cries came. In the distance, two armies arranged themselves in battle formation. It was the clan soldiers of the Frost Whale tribe and the Tao soldiers of the Heavenly Rain Palace. Although the Frost Whale tribe was more like fish in water, the Heavenly Rain Palace had been in the endless sea for many years. Their martial arts had long been inseparable from the water path. For a while, the two sides were evenly matched. Terrible waves came constantly, forming turbulent waves on the sea, and chaotic clouds pierced through the sky. Don't worry about them. Our goal is to take down that mine. There's a battle here, so we can sneak in easily, Yi Shiwen said. The battle here caused continuous fluctuations, but it could conceal their aura so that they could sneak in easily. Everyone nodded. They took a detour and soon arrived at this mining site. Yi Shiwen felt that there were all kinds of sentries stationed several hundred miles away from this mining site. They had sealed up the entire area within a radius of 100 miles from this mining site. The Frost Whale tribe had done a very good job in this regard, and they had already formed a custom for many years. At this time, Zhao Dingfang frowned and said, "What should we do? The masters of the Frost Whale tribe have obviously strengthened their defense. Are we going to force our way in?" At this time, Lan Zhenglong said disdainfully, "Let's force our way in. Anyway, these are just some small fries. It's nothing." Ding Butong said, "But if there are masters among them, we won't be able to achieve the goal of a surprise attack today. At that time, they will definitely strengthen their defense, and it will be even more difficult for us to make a move." Ding Butong said, "Even if there were experts inside, with their strength, they would naturally be able to escape unscathed. However, if they were to alarm those people, they would increase their vigilance and attract the attention of heaven-tier experts. If that were to happen, they would not have any chance to escape." They were able to launch a surprise attack to a large extent because they guessed that the defense of the other side should not be very tight, so there should be no Celestial Realm Masters. Otherwise, it would not be so troublesome. At this time, Yishuan opened his mouth and said, "How about this? I will go in first and investigate. If there are no masters, then we will make a move. It will not be too late." Everyone thought about it and felt that this was also a safe way. Yishuan immediately no longer hesitated, directly converged all the breath on his body, and instantly sneaked in. Everyone's face was a little stunned because they found that they had no way to use their spirit to perceive Yishuan. Even if they clearly saw him standing in front of them, there was no way to discover him. They could not help but be a little surprised. Yishuan's ability to hold his breath and concentrate was also superb. Yishuan did not know what the people behind him were thinking. After entering the range of the mine, he directly held his breath and concentrate, directly integrated with the surrounding sea currents, and sneaked in. With his current strength, coupled with the fact that he had activated the breath control technique, and the fact that he was at the bottom of the sea in such a dark environment, he would basically not be discovered by anyone. Even if someone did see him, they would only think that he was a rock. Soon, Yishuan had already sneaked near the mine. At this time, above and below the mine, many laborers were constantly mining the spirit crystals on the mineral vein, mining out bit by bit. These laborers were all captives captured by the Cold Whale clan, as well as some of their vassal clans. They were all tall and strong, but their strength was not necessarily outstanding. There were also many Cold Whale clan supervisors at the side, supervising these miners. Their shouts spread throughout the entire bottom of the sea. Yishuan slowly sneaked in and just wanted to continue to explore. Suddenly, a loud sound of water breaking came from the sky, and a few figures landed on the spot. Among them, the person in the lead looked middle-aged, with an extraordinary bearing, and behind him were also several powerful masters. What was frightening was that these people turned out to be masters of the celestial realm. And what made Yishuan even more surprised was that he found that the middle-aged man in the lead was none other than the master of the Wang clan this time, Wang Li. Why is he here? Yishuan suddenly had some doubts in his heart. What made Yishuan even more puzzled was that these masters of the Cold Whale clan were completely indifferent to the arrival of the Wang clan, as if they had been notified. Could it be that the Wang clan colluded with these people of the Cold Whale clan? This was Yishuan's first reaction. But when he thought of this, he suddenly felt a faint chill. If this was really the case, then it was really bad. If the Wang clan did not come to help the Heavenly Rain Palace with their ability, wouldn't the Heavenly Rain Palace immediately fall apart? Haha, Mr. Wang, welcome. At this time, a forthright voice came from the mine. Then, a stalwart figure jumped out, middle-aged, covered in scales. Judging from his breath, he was a master of the celestial realm of the Cold Whale clan. Soon, the Wang clan and this celestial realm master of the Cold Whale clan immediately entered the depths of the mine. Yishuan did not think much at once, and immediately followed, but constantly operated the restraining breath technique, converged all the breath on his body, and then quietly followed. Soon he followed, but heard Wang Li say, "What a big deal. The mine here can probably provide a lot of spirit crystals every year." "These are all small fortunes, nothing," said the master of the Cold Whale clan. "Compared to the wealth and power of the Wang clan, what we have is nothing at all. If you don't take one step at a time, you can't reach 1,000 miles in a step. Any wealth is accumulated bit by bit like this. said Wang Li with a wave of his hand. Mr. Wang is wise, but last time Mr. Wang sent someone to say that you can persuade the Heavenly Rain Palace to give up the fight for the Spirit Crystal Mine. Is it true? Asked the master of the Cold Whale clan tentatively. Asking the Heavenly Rain Palace to give up the fight for the Spirit Crystal Mine, Yi Shiwen immediately became vigilant. After all, this Spirit Crystal Mine already involved tens of trillions of Spirit Crystals. For any force, this was not a small number. How could they give up? This was impossible no matter how he thought about it. Chapter 1406. Tens of trillions of Spirit Crystals wasn't a small number. In fact, it was enough to create hundreds of geniuses. Even Yi Shiwen, a prodigal who regarded Spirit Crystals as dirt, didn't know when he would be able to completely consume these Spirit Crystals. How could Heavenly Rain Palace give up such a huge amount of wealth? Otherwise, they would not invite others to help. Did they really think that they came to help for free? Afterwards, Heavenly Rain Palace would certainly pay a high price as a reward. A Celestial Realm Master was worth this price. And now, they actually wanted Heavenly Rain Palace to give up these Spirit Crystals. How could the Wang family be so sure? This is naturally true. I will not joke about this kind of thing, Wang Li said, standing with his hands behind his back. However, this wealth of billions of Spirit Crystals may not be in the eyes of your Wang family, but for my Cold Whale clan, Heavenly Rain Palace, or even Mountain Sea Pavilion, it is a huge fortune. How could they just give it up? This Cold Whale clan master obviously did not believe it. In fact, anyone would not believe it when they encountered this kind of thing. This matter is confidential, but since you and I are cooperating, then there are some things that I can let you know. Wang Li said, this time, Yi clan sent a master. You know, these years, Heavenly Rain Palace has been constantly expanding its territory with the support of Yi clan. Even your two clans have been affected. So it is like this. Why? Does Wang family plan to support my Cold Whale clan? That Cold Whale clan master had a somewhat mocking expression on his face. That is naturally impossible. My Wang family is a big clan of the human race. Now that we are cooperating with you, it is already a big taboo, let alone supporting you. Wang Li quickly shook his head and said, he was not that muddle-headed. This matter itself was already very risky. If it was accidentally discovered, the Wang family would fall into the situation of being the target of public criticism. Humans were besieged on all sides, enemies on all sides, so they were particularly sensitive to this kind of thing. Then what do you want? Said the Cold Whale clan master. I want you to cooperate and kill all the experts from the Yi family, especially that Yi Qiong, who is one of the Yi family's 5 hegemons. If he dies, the Yi family will definitely be furious. At that time, the Heavenly Rain Palace will have no choice but to rely on my Wang family. At that time, if we want them to give up fighting for the Spirit Crystal Mine, they can only obediently listen to us. Wang Li said, good plan, really good plan. At that time, the Heavenly Rain Palace will have already offended the Yi family to death. At that time, they can only listen to your Wang family. At that time, you will be able to knead them as you wish. The eyes of that Frost Whale clan expert suddenly lit up, and he clicked his tongue in wonder. Even Yi Shiwen was slightly surprised. If they really got what they wanted, then perhaps they would really succeed. Ordinary experts might be fine, but when it came to the 5 hegemons, who were deep-rooted existences of the Yi family, and were expected to inherit the position of the clan lord in the future, the death of any one of them would endlessly shake the entire Yi family. At that time, in order to resist the Yi family's wrath, the Heavenly Rain Palace really had no other choice but to fully rely on the Wang family. At that time, Wang Li's prediction would be spot on. This old guy's plan couldn't be said to be bad. Yi Shiwen felt a slight chill in his heart. These people of the Wang family were always scheming against their Yi family. However, it wouldn't have mattered if they didn't know about it. Since they already knew about it, then they certainly couldn't let them succeed. Such good conditions. Then what do you want us to do? The Frost Whale clan expert said. It's very simple. I want you to dispatch experts. Our Wang family has also dispatched many experts this time, but we certainly won't dispatch all of them. We will only assist you from the side. The main force of this attack will be you. I believe that the Frost Whale clan is so big, so it shouldn't be a problem to dispatch some experts. Wang Li said at this time, "It's really a good plan. We will dispatch experts, and when the time comes, the casualties will be ours, and you will be able to sit back and reap the benefits, and bring the heavenly rain palace under your command." That Frost Whale clan expert sneered and said, "What do you mean by sit back and reap the benefits? Isn't the spirit crystal mine a compensation?" Wang Li said unhappily, "Such a large amount of wealth, even for our Wang family, is not a small amount. Our sincerity should be enough." In the end, whether this spirit crystal mine will fall into the hands of our Frost Whale clan is not certain. Moreover, the people of the Mountain Sea Pavilion are eyeing us covetously from the side. The expert from the Frost Whale clan was no fool. There was no way he would agree to be cannon fodder for Wang Li. That's none of our business. Our Wang family doesn't care about the matters of the Mountain Sea Pavilion. Moreover, even so, without the Heavenly Rain Palace, won't you have one less great competitor? Even if you each divide it equally, it's still much better than splitting it among three forces. Wang Li said lightly. In his heart, there was a bit of disdain. How could their Wang family give up tens of trillions of spirit crystals, let alone give it to their sea race? They were just giving them a taste of the sweetness first. When the Wang family brought the Heavenly Rain Palace under their command, they could send a large number of experts here. What Frost Whale clan? What Mountain Sea Pavilion? If they dared to stand in front of the Wang family, only death awaited them. They actually dared to scheme in front of the Wang family. They really didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. As for the agreement, Wang Li didn't care at all. Anyway, agreements were meant to be torn apart. As long as the Wang family still possessed great strength, who would dare to say a word against them? He was also clear that the expert from the Cold Whale clan in front of him didn't believe him from the start. The two of them were simply making promises to each other. In fact, no one would believe in such empty words. In the ancient Barrens continent, there was only one thing that could be relied on, and that was strength. Only strength could guarantee one's survival. Who would believe in an agreement? Moreover, it was a verbal secret agreement. No one would believe in an agreement made by a sea race and a human race. Even if the Frost Whale clan wanted to report the Wang family, as long as the Wang family turned hostile and denied it completely, what could the Frost Whale clan do? We can't be such a spendthrift. Besides, the Frost Whale clan isn't the only one who benefited from this matter. The Mountain Sea Pavilion can't stay out of this, right? They will definitely send their experts. Together with the experts from the Wang family, the three of us will work together and completely eliminate the experts from the Yi family, said the Frost Whale clan expert. Wang Li pondered for a moment. His eyes flickered, but he quickly said, "What you said makes sense." Then it's settled. I will think of a way to let the higher-ups of the Heavenly Rain Palace gather the experts from the Yi family together. This way, it'll be easier to eliminate them all. We won't care about these matters. We'll leave everything to the Wang family, said the Frost Whale clan expert. If that's the case, I'll contact the people from the Mountain Sea Pavilion first. I'll take my leave first. Wang Li cupped his hands and said, "Then goodbye," said the sea race expert with a nod. After seeing Wang Li and the others leave, the water around the sea race expert fluctuated, and a figure slowly appeared. It was another top expert of the Frost Whale clan. His whole body was covered with fine scales. "Elder, this Wang Li can't be trusted. I can feel that his heart is vicious," said the newly appeared sea race expert. The sea race elder just smiled and said indifferently, "What's wrong with that? In this cooperation, we all have our own ulterior motives. Wang Li is scheming against us, but are we scheming against them? Wang Li wants to use us to eliminate the experts of the Yi family, so that the Heavenly Rain Palace can completely rely on the Wang family. However, the Yi family has been operating in the Heavenly Rain Palace for so many years. Their influence is huge enough to shake the entire Heavenly Rain Palace. At that time, the Wang family and the Heavenly Rain Palace will have to face the counterattack of the forces belonging to the Yi family in the Heavenly Rain Palace. So what if the Heavenly Rain Palace falls into the hands of the Wang family? A half-crippled Heavenly Rain Palace won't pose any threat at all. Even if the Wong family wants to turn hostile and fight for the spiritual crystal mine again. So what? This is the Endless Sea region. According to the agreement between the sea race and the human race's forces in the ancient Barrens continent can't directly extend their hands into the Endless Sea region. With just a half-crippled heavenly rain palace and some help from the Wong family, how could they be our opponents? At that time, when we swallow the spiritual crystal mine, our strength will improve by leaps and bounds. At that time, even if the Wong family has the support of the Wong family, do you think the Heavenly Rain Palace can threaten our clan? Elder is wise, said the sea race expert. This isn't wise at all. It's just an overt plot. However, the Wong family's appetite is a little too big. Not only do they want to control the Heavenly Rain Palace, but they also want to extend their hands into the spiritual crystal mine. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the chance to scheme against them, said the sea race elder with a sneer. All right, I have to return to the clan to report this news. I'll leave this place to you. Be careful. The Heavenly Rain Palace might not be safe in the near future. Yes, said the sea race heaven realm expert with a nod. With that, the sea clan's elder disappeared into the horizon on a streak of light. Yishuan didn't move at all. Fortunately, he had come in to investigate. If he had rushed in so carelessly, he might have been wiped out by the sea race elder, Wang Qi, and the others. Regardless of whether it was Wang Qi or the sea race expert, they were undoubtedly experts of the heaven realm. If he were to encounter them, he might not be able to break out of the encirclement even after suffering heavy casualties. Thinking of this, Yishuan didn't stay any longer. He slowly left the depths of the mine and headed outside. Chapter 1407. What he heard this time was enough to shock Yishuan. The Wong clan was actually plotting such a thing in the dark. In fact, it was not strange for the Wong clan to plot against the Yi clan. Wasn't the Yi clan also plotting the same thing? The real problem was that they actually wanted to join hands with the Cold Whale clan and the Mountain Sea Pavilion. If they joined hands, it would definitely be a disaster for the Yi clan. However, that was under the condition that the Yi clan didn't know about it. Now that Yi Shiwen knew about it, the situation would be different. Yi Shiwen sneered. His figure had already swept out of the mine area. Ding Budong and the others were waiting for him. How is it? Did you find anything? Zhao Dingfang asked. There should be a celestial realm master inside. He is definitely at the second level of the celestial realm. Yi Shiwen was talking about the master of the Cold Whale clan who had appeared next to the elder of the Cold Whale clan. Everyone began to look a bit serious. The strength of the second level of the celestial realm was obviously stronger than the current group. No problem. After all, we have 4 people here. Zhao Dingfang, Lan Zhenglong, and I will stop him. Yi Shiwen, you and Qiu Yao will attack together. Without this celestial realm master, the others will not be a match for you. Wait until you destroy the mine, then come and meet with us. At that time, with your strength, it will not be a problem for us to retreat. Ding Budong said. Everyone didn't hesitate. Although the strength of the opposite party was above Yi Shiwen and the others. But after all, they were Heaven's Pride experts. Even if the strength of the opposite party was higher than them, they would still dare to fight alone, let alone so many people. Well, then let's do it, Yi Shiwen said. As he said that, countless water began to condense in his hand, instantly forming a water sword. The strong fluctuations immediately attracted the attention of the patrolling Cold Whale clan masters. Whoosh! 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 This water sword split into countless sword lights in the sea water. These sword lights were hidden in the sea water and instantly cut through the sea water. These hidden sentries were almost instantly beheaded by Yi Shiwen. Even the hidden sentries couldn't hide from Yi Shiwen's eyes. Kill! Yi Shiwen shouted loudly, and everyone rushed in. Who are you? How dare you make trouble in the territory of the Frost Whale clan? At that moment, a huge hand shot out from the sky to grab them. It was none other than the Frost Whale clan's expert at the Heaven tier. He wanted to kill all of them with one move. Yi Shiwen, leave this to us. You and Qiu Yao will take care of everything else. As Ding Butong spoke, he directly attacked. An iron sword appeared in his hand, and with a single slash, countless beams of sword light shot towards the giant hand. At this moment, Lan Zhenglong and Zhao Dingfeng quickly took action. Boom! The combined attack of the three of them collided with the huge hand in the air, and a terrifying power burst forth. Countless amounts of seawater directly swept up into a waterspout, rumbling in all directions. Whoosh! A figure jumped out of the mine and rushed to the front of everyone in an instant. It was the expert of the Cold Whale clan that Yi Shiwen had seen before. You're from the Heavenly Rain Palace. That Frost Whale clan expert wasn't stupid. He immediately reacted. Don't talk nonsense, Dai. The iron sword in Ding Budong's hand instantly drew an astonishing beam of sword light. Different swords, different world. In an instant, the sword technique in Ding Budong's hand evolved into countless sword techniques, each of which could actually evolve into a myriad of living things. Yi Shiwen couldn't help but be secretly startled. Although Yi Shiwen didn't know how exquisite this sword technique was, with his current knowledge, he could almost see through it in an instant. Every sword technique could simulate a myriad of living things, so when he could simulate the world with one sword technique, his swordsmanship would reach the grand accomplishment stage. Who could withstand such a sword technique? Although it was destined that it would never reach the grand accomplishment stage, it was also precisely because of this that such swordsmanship was almost endless and could be practiced forever. Swordsmanship itself was an unorthodox path, and it was extremely easy to reach the end. Just like his buried sword secrets, he had repeatedly strengthened it several times, but he had still touched the bottom line. Just based on this sword technique alone, Ding Budong was already a character. Lan Zhenglong and Zhao Dingfeng also rushed forward. 3 Celestial Realm experts at the first level of the Celestial Realm, in addition to Ding Budong, who was at the peak of the first level of the Celestial Realm. Naturally, their combined strength was strong. At this time, Yi Shiwen and Xiao Yao also made their move. Buried person sword. Yi Shiwen shouted in the sea, and the water sword in his hand directly split into countless beams of sword light, instantly falling from the void like raindrops. Whoosh! 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 These beams of sword light swept down, directly bombarding the Frost Whale clan experts who were about to rush out of the mine. Yi Shiwen's buried person sword might only pose a slight threat to the Celestial Realm experts, but for the experts below the Celestial Realm, it was a fatal threat. Puff! 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 Many of the Frost Whale clan experts who were about to rush out were blown into nothingness on the spot. You're courting death. The Frost Whale clan expert saw so many of his clansmen die tragically, and his eyes turned red. He opened his mouth and whistled out a shocking cold air, freezing the seawater along the way. In an instant, he rushed in front of Yi Shiwen with lightning speed. Clang! A loud roar sounded, and the 8 treasures heaven and earth cauldron in Yi Shiwen's body automatically appeared to protect his body, and directly smashed a loud buzzing sound. Yi Shiwen's figure was also smashed a few steps back. The Frost Whale clan expert could not help but feel a little strange seeing that he was not able to kill Yi Shiwen. One must know that killing a half-step Celestial Realm expert was simply a piece of cake. But before he could think further, he was blocked by Ding Budong and the other 2. Yi Shiwen and Xiao Yao also rushed into the mine without any hesitation. The people on the surface of the mine were almost wiped out by Yi Shiwen in an instant. However, there were still many people inside the mine and many facilities. If they weren't destroyed, then they would soon be able to start working again. Yi Shiwen, we have to move faster. The movement here should have alarmed the Frost Whale clan, and a large number of their experts should be here soon. Xiao Yao said. Yes. Yi Shiwen nodded and directly rushed into the mine, the sword light in his hand almost never stopping. If he did not kill these people, then this time it was tantamount to coming here in vain. In a short while, the people in the mine were almost killed by Yi Shiwen and Xiao Yao. Although there were some powerful half-step Celestial Realm experts, under Yi Shiwen's sword light, they could not withstand a single move at all, and all of them died tragically. In a short while, the whole mine was completely destroyed, and Yi Shiwen and Xiao Yao also left the mine before it completely collapsed. With Yi Shiwen's participation, The situation, which could only be regarded as evenly matched, suddenly became Yi Shiwen and the others having the upper hand. But Yi Shiwen and the others did not stay for long, because in the distance, a tyrannical aura had already swept over. The experts of the Frost Whale clan were about to arrive, and if they did not leave now, they might not be able to leave. Although this expert of the Frost Whale clan very much wanted to delay Yi Shiwen and the others, in the end, he could only watch Yi Shiwen and the others swagger away, their roars shaking the sea for thousands of miles. On the sea, the figures of Yi Shiwen and the others flew past, the burst of air waves setting off a white spray. There was a bit of joy on the faces of these people. For the first time to be able to go so smoothly, it was also a big motivation for them. Only Yi Shiwen's face had a somewhat dignified expression. The shocking big secret that he had heard before must be told as soon as possible, and it would be better for them to make plans. "What's wrong, Brother Yi? Are you not happy?" Qiu Yao saw that Yi Shiwen did not seem to be too happy, so she asked. "No, I'm just thinking about something," Yi Shiwen said with a slight smile. "Since today's matter is over, then I'll take my leave first. If there is another mission next time, you can inform me." After saying that, Yi Shiwen couldn't wait any longer. He turned into a ball of golden light and disappeared in front of everyone. The Wang clan's matter had always been a thorn in his side. He didn't know when the Wang clan would make a move, since they had colluded with the experts of the Cold Whale clan and the Mountain Sea Pavilion. Therefore, he couldn't delay for even a second. What an amazing speed! Lan Jinglong's face was also a bit surprised. Although they had not flown at full speed, Yi Shiwen had left them behind in an instant, which was enough to show that Yi Shiwen's speed was simply terrifying. Originally, he wanted to compete with Yi Shiwen, but he was reprimanded by Ding Butong that day. Now, it seemed that Yi Shiwen's strength seemed to be above him. Just this move alone was enough to be incomparably amazing. Yi Shiwen quickly returned to the station of the Heavenly Rain Palace and found Yi Qiong, who was guarding here. Originally, they all had their own missions, but now only Yi Qiong was guarding here as the main liaison. After seeing Yi Qiong, Yi Shiwen immediately told him everything. After listening to Yi Shiwen's explanation of the matter, Yi Qiong's face became solemn, and then he immediately held his forehead and laughed loudly. "Ha ha! Those old fellows of the Wang clan must not have thought that their words would actually be heard by you. If they really succeeded in this matter, none of us would be able to escape, and all of us would die. However, it's a pity that in the end, it was actually heard by you. That means that the heavens want to destroy them," Yi Qiong said. His face could not help but become a bit sinister. Chapter 1408. He was also secretly shocked in his heart. If it weren't for Yi Shiwen's information, he might have really fallen because of this matter. How could he not hate Yi Shiwen? He was almost dead. Fortunately, Yi Shiwen had informed him in advance. "Now that we have confirmed that the Wang family is going to attack us, let's quickly inform the family and send experts to capture these people in one fell swoop," Yi Shiwen said. Yi Qiong shook his head and said, "No, our family can't send a large number of experts. According to the agreement between our human race and the sea race countless years ago, the major forces of our human race can't send a large number of experts. It's rare to see the Wang family, with more than 20 Celestial Realm experts and dozens of half-step Celestial Realm experts. But even so, they still need the power of the Cold Whale clan and the Mountain Sea Pavilion to dare to encircle us." At this time, Yi Shiwen finally understood why the Wang family didn't do it themselves, but looked for the Cold Whale clan and the Mountain Sea Pavilion. If the Wang family sent some experts to encircle the Yi family, it would be a piece of cake. It was no wonder that whether it was the Yi family or the Wang family, they all wanted to compete for the ultimate leadership of the Heavenly Rain Palace. Because they couldn't personally come to the Eastern Sea region, they needed a bridgehead like the Heavenly Rain Palace, so that they could extend their tentacles out. "Then what should we do?" Yi Shiwen said. "This is not a difficult thing to do. This is really a heaven-sent opportunity for us to solve the Heavenly Rain Palace's matter in one fell swoop." Yi Qiong said, "Although we can't ask for help from the family, there is one thing that our Yi family can't compare with the Wang family. That is, we have the first opportunity. We have already set up our flag in the Heavenly Rain Palace many years ago. Now, Uncle Yi Jin is the deputy palace master in the Heavenly Rain Palace and can mobilize countless forces. At that time, we can capture all of them in one fell swoop. At that time, the Wang family will be wiped out. Even those who have ulterior motives can only obediently crawl at the feet of our Yi family. Yi Qiong laughed and said, "This is our greatest advantage. The Wang family needs external help, but we can complete this operation with just the power of the Heavenly Rain Palace." Yi Xuan nodded. So that's how it was. No wonder Yi family only had a few people, but they were not afraid at all when facing so many people of Wang family. It turned out that Heavenly Rain Palace itself had a part of power that obeyed Yi family. Although the Wang family also had disciples who joined the Heavenly Rain Palace in recent years, their time was still short. At most, they were only elders. There was no way to compare with a deputy palace lord like Yi Jin. Additionally, if it were not for the fear of causing a panic within Heavenly Rain Palace, they could even fight for the position of Palace Lord. However, that would be the equivalent of bringing Heavenly Rain Palace into the Yi family sphere of influence. Take the martial arts faction within the Yi family, for example. In the past, the Yi family had infiltrated those sections. Later on, they were slowly annexed by the Yi family, and their legacies became part of the Yi family's legacies. However, this Heavenly Rain Palace couldn't do that, because the Heavenly Rain Palace was much stronger than the martial arts faction. If they really resisted, the Yi family wouldn't have it easy. In addition to the agreement between the human race and the sea race, the Yi family, as one of the tyrants of the ancient Barons continent, could not directly descend. Since they want to play this time, let's play hard and completely cut off these people's delusions. Yi Qiong sneered and said. Yi Qiong had to worry about these things. Naturally, Yi Xuan couldn't care so much. He immediately returned to his small courtyard and continued to cultivate. While he was in closed-door training, the news of Yi Xuan and the others teaming up to destroy a mine quickly spread out, especially since Qiu Yao was the leader of the team. And at this time, the Heavenly Rain Palace also needed such a benchmark. In addition, the forces behind Ding Budong and the others added fuel to the fire. So, this action was immediately given another meaning and became widely known. Even without that, being able to destroy a mine right under the nose of the Frost Whale clan was something that was worth bragging about. All of a sudden, the reputation of several people rose, especially Yi Xuan. His image in the Heavenly Rain Palace was much better. Originally, some people had added fuel to the fire to destroy the reputation of the Yi family. But because of this matter, they were completely suppressed without a trace. More than a month passed. During this month, Yi Xuan and the others moved out a few more times and obtained quite a lot of gains. However, for the overall situation of the war, the use of these people was really too little. After all, these were the outstanding talents of the younger generation. Whenever they made a move, it would often attract the attention of the public. Facing Qiu Yao and the other members of the team, who were becoming more and more rampant, the Frost Whale clan and the Mountain Sea Pavilion had a headache. This was because they could appear anywhere at any time. Although there weren't many of them, the combat strength of 4 Heaven Realm experts and a half-step Heaven Realm late-stage expert was not to be underestimated. For this reason, they specially designed an ambush for a few people. That battle was directly earth-shattering. In the end, Lan Zhenglong and Qiu Yao were both seriously injured. Yi Xuan had no choice but to stay behind to cover everyone's retreat. After this battle, Yi Xuan's name once again shook the world. There was no other reason, because among the people who besieged Yi Xuan at that time, there were experts in the Third Heaven Realm. However, in the end, they couldn't do anything to Yi Xuan and let him leave calmly. Although there were also rumors that Yi Xuan was seriously injured in this battle, with his half-step Heaven Realm cultivation. In any case, such a battle record was enough to be proud of. And the three-way battle between the Heavenly Rain Palace, the Frost Whale clan, and the Mountain Sea Pavilion also became more and more intense. Especially when the Heavenly Rain Palace faced the joint forces of the Frost Whale clan and the Mountain Sea Pavilion. It showed even more signs of decline. The three forces were originally about the same, but when the Frost Whale clan and the Mountain Sea Pavilion sparred, the Heavenly Rain Palace inevitably fell into a disadvantage. Fortunately, there were a lot of experts from all sides. Although each major force might only send a few people, they were all Heaven Realm experts. With the addition of these experts, the situation was stabilized. The scale of the battle was also constantly expanding. Both sides had begun to dispatch clan soldiers and Tau soldiers to fight. Compared to the time in the Flourish Cloud Sea region, it was many times more tyrannical. Compared to the scale of the battle between the Tau soldiers and clan soldiers between the Eastern Sea region and the Southern Sea region, perhaps the number of them was not much, but the scene of the battle was many times more tyrannical than the Flourished Cloud Sea region. Compared to here, the Flourished Cloud Sea region was just a small fight. No wonder this was a super sea region, and the Flourished Cloud Sea region was just a small sea region. During this period of time, no fierce conflict broke out between the Yi and Wang clans. Even Wang Zhenfei was ordered not to look for trouble with Yi Shiwen. Whether or not he could defeat Yi Shiwen was one thing, and even if he could defeat Yi Shiwen in the end, so what? Both sides were preparing. The Wang family was contacting various forces to encircle and annihilate the Yi family, and the Yi family was also constantly preparing after getting the news from Yi Shiwen. Both sides were preparing to give each other a fatal blow, so at this time, it was very quiet. Neither side had any intention of provoking and causing trouble. The people of the Heavenly Rain Palace couldn't understand. The two families, who were like fire and water before, were silent at this time. They wouldn't believe it even if they said **T, like facing a formidable enemy. For the ordinary disciples of the Heavenly Rain Palace, this was a good thing. At least the two major forces could remove a considerable threat for them. At this time, the higher-ups of the Heavenly Rain Palace finally issued an order that both the Wang family and the Yi family had been waiting for a long time. A batch of ores was to be escorted back to the Heavenly Rain Palace from the mining site, and the Heavenly Rain Palace hoped that the Yi family could take over this matter. For this reason, the Palace Master of the Heavenly Rain Palace personally came to find Yi Qiong. If they didn't know about this matter, perhaps the Yi family would only treat this matter as a very ordinary matter. Escorting ores had always happened, but what really made the Yi family vigilant was that the Heavenly Rain Palace had actually summoned back all of the Yi family's experts who were stationed in various places to escort the ores together. Apart from the Yi family, the others were all inferior goods. It was obvious that the Yi family's experts were the main force. Although the number of spirit crystals escorted this time was indeed a lot, there was no need to call back all the people of the Yi family. Then there was only one possibility. That was, the Wang family's plan was activated, and they were going to attack the Yi family. Yi Qiong immediately gathered the people of the Yi family without hesitation. "They are going to attack us," a master of the Yi family said with emotion. "Finally, this day has come. I have waited for a long time, and finally, I can fight fiercely and capture all these bastards of the Wang family in one fell swoop. That's right, this time, we must destroy all of them. This time, if they want to play, we will play with them." Yi Qiong sneered, and the corners of his mouth were cold. "When the time comes, everyone must cooperate with each other. Before Uncle Yi Jin arrives, we can only rely on ourselves. In order not to be suspected, Uncle Yi Jin will bring people to set off for a while after we set off. During this time, it is all up to us. If we can't hold on, then the whole situation will collapse. Everyone understand?" Yi Jin asked. "Understood." Chapter 1409. The next day, after everyone from the Yi clan had arrived, everyone from the Yi clan immediately went to the mine without the Heavenly Rain Palace's urging. The person in charge of the mine handed over the goods very quickly. Now that the war was not over, not only would the Heavenly Rain Palace send people to destroy the mines and the territories of the two forces, but the two forces would also do so. Therefore, if these spirit crystals were not transported in advance, they might fall into the hands of the enemy. After receiving the spirit crystals, everyone from the Yi clan could not help but take a deep breath because they all knew what this meant. The Yi clan's people pretended to know nothing, broke through the sea surface, and quickly flew in the direction of the Heavenly Rain Palace. Suddenly, above a boundless sea, the winds and waves were calm, as if there was nothing at all. However, everyone stopped. It was because the calm was the strangest. In the sea, calm was a sign that something was going to happen. Stop! Yi Qiong waved his hand at this time, the fan in his hand constantly slapping his palm. I don't know which friend is ambushing me here. Come out and meet me. Ha ha ha. Yi Qiong, your reputation is well-deserved, worthy of being one of the 5 most powerful forces of the Yi clan. Accompanied by a hearty laughter, a group of dozens of people appeared in the void. All of them were the top experts of the Cold Whale clan, and the one leading them was the top expert of the Cold Whale clan that Yi Shiwen had seen the other day. Although they were prepared, when they saw these people, everyone from the Yi clan could not help but take a deep breath. In addition to this elder of the Cold Whale clan, there were more than 20 other great experts of the Celestial Realm, and the rest were also top experts of the peak of the half-step Celestial Realm. Even for a big clan like the Cold Whale clan, it could be said that they had spent a lot of money to send so many experts. Cold Whale clan, what do you want? Yi Qiong said coldly. Ha! Yi Qiong, don't you know? The elder of the Cold Whale clan said with a sneer. Who else? Come out together. Yi Qiong said loudly. Hearing Yi Qiong's words, the crowd behind him became restless. There were hundreds of people escorting the spirit crystals, and only a dozen or so of them were from the Yi clan. The rest were from the Heavenly Rain Palace and other forces. At this time, the crowd couldn't help but become restless. Yi Qiong's eyes lit up. Just the experts of the Frost Whale clan before them were enough to render them helpless. Moreover, if there were others lying in ambush, wouldn't they be dead meat? They were not like the experts of the Yi family who knew in advance that they would be attacked. At this time, they could not help but feel restless. And it was precisely because of their restless behavior that the Frost Whale clan was even more certain that they hadn't been discovered. Ha ha ha! As expected of Yi Qiong, another laugh came from behind. Another group of people dressed in uniform leaped out from the void. Their numbers were almost the same as the Cold Whale clans. There were also over 20 experts of the Heaven Tier and several dozen experts at the peak of the late stage of the Heaven Tier. Such a huge lineup almost caused the entire Heavenly Rain Palace's team to be completely routed. Either of these 2 groups of people was enough to completely annihilate them, let alone 2 groups of people coming together. For them, this was the most terrifying thing. And from the looks of it, they were experts of the Mountain Sea Pavilion. The leading artist was also a very famous expert of the new generation in the Mountain Sea Pavilion, Feng Wuliang. Although he was born in the Mountain Sea Pavilion, he was famous throughout the ancient barrens. In terms of fame, he was almost as famous as the 5 hegemons of the Yi clan. Feng Wuliang, I didn't expect it to be you, Yi Qiong said with narrowed eyes. Just the Frost Whale clan's elder alone was already very troublesome to deal with, let alone Feng Wuliang. What's so strange about it? Yi Qiong, I've heard of your name before, but I've never really fought against you. Today is the perfect opportunity. I'd like to see how capable you, a famous genius of the ancient barrens, are. Killing you will be enough to make my name known throughout the world. Feng Wuliang said indifferently. The Mountain Sea Pavilion could be considered a tyrant in the Southern Sea region, but in the entire ancient barrens, it was nothing, let alone compared to a giant like the Yi clan. Therefore, he had always been a little unconvinced. If he had been born in the Yi clan, he would definitely be much more powerful than the 5 hegemons. Kill me and make a name for yourself? Humph. Yi Qiong continued to sneer. Who else? Come out together. I'd like to see how many people are involved in this matter. The people of the Heavenly Rain Palace almost fainted. Just these people alone were enough to kill them, but there were still more people. Oh my God! Who did they offend? How could this happen? I really can't hide it from you. Another sneer was heard, and a group of people jumped out from the surroundings. The person in the lead was Wang Li. How could it be the Wang clan? At this time, the people of the Heavenly Rain Palace were shocked. They didn't expect that the people who wanted their lives were actually the Wang clan, whom they thought was their ally. At this time, they were completely dumbfounded. Seeing so many experts of the Wang clan here, if they still couldn't figure out what was going on, then they would have wasted their lives. Thinking of this, They couldn't help but feel sad. Why is it like this? Aren't you here to help us? Why are you colluding with them? At this time, an expert of the Heavenly Rain Palace shouted righteously, "Yes, I'm here to help the Heavenly Rain Palace, but now the atmosphere of the Heavenly Rain Palace is filled with unfriendly atmosphere towards our Wang clan. So we have to get rid of these people first. I'm sorry, but you are just one of them." At this time, Wang Li said with a sneer, "Wang Zhenfei, forget about Wang Li and the others. You are a disciple cultivated by our Heavenly Rain Palace. When has our Heavenly Rain Palace mistreated you?" Another expert pointed at the figure behind Wang Li and said, "That person was none other than Wang Zhenfei." At this time, Wang Zhenfei couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. As a disciple of the Heavenly Rain Palace, and also as a disciple of the Wang clan, he couldn't say anything at this time because he was very clear that these people's accusations were not wrong. However, when he saw Yi Shiwen in the crowd, his expression suddenly became abnormally fierce. He did not do anything wrong for the sake of the Heavenly Rain Palace, and the Yi clan was the biggest tumor attached to the Heavenly Rain Palace. Only by eradicating them and relying on the help of the Wang clan, the Heavenly Rain Palace could truly flourish and become the hegemon of the Eastern Sea region. At that time, whether it was the Wang clan or the Heavenly Rain Palace, both sides would not owe anything. As for being controlled by the Wang clan, it was the Yi clan that was currently controlling them, so it didn't matter who controlled them. His complexion immediately returned to normal, and he said, "Now that things have come to this, it's useless no matter what you say. If you want to blame someone, blame the Yi clan. If it weren't for them, you wouldn't have to die, and you wouldn't have to face such a situation." At this time, whether it was the people of the Heavenly Rain Palace or the people of other forces, how could they still understand that the Wang clan had come for the people of the Yi clan, and they were just fish caught in the crossfire? In order to silence them, it was impossible for the Wang clan to let any of them escape. Otherwise, if this matter were to spread to the Heavenly Rain Palace, it would cause a huge uproar, and all the efforts of the Wang clan would be in vain. This would also give the Yi clan a very good excuse to intervene. And at this time, these people who felt despair began to cast their hateful eyes towards the people of the Yi clan, which made the people of the Yi clan feel quite uncomfortable. Indeed, these people were here for them. However, the ones who wanted to kill them weren't the Yi clan, but the three parties. Instead of hating them, they resented the Yi clan. Wasn't this the typical thinking of a small fry? They were powerless in the face of power, so they vented their anger on others. Humph! These people are really asking for it. Originally, I wanted to save them, but now it seems that they are simply asking for it. If they die, then they die. What does it have to do with them? The people of the Yi clan had such thoughts. At this critical moment, these people's mentality of the weak was exposed. This was human nature, or it should be said that this was almost the nature of intelligent creatures. Everyone was the same. Yi Shiwen also sneered in the face of the hateful eyes of these people behind him. These people were courting death. At this time, if they relied on the Yi clan, they might still have a chance to survive, but now they were the targets of the three forces, and they treated the people of the Yi clan like this. If this wasn't courting death, then what was? They were really blinded by the fear of death, and they couldn't distinguish the severity of the situation. Less nonsense, Yi Qiong. Today, you will die. If your Yi clan doesn't die, our Wang clan will never have the chance to enter the Heavenly Rain Palace. Wang Li sneered and said. The people of the Yi clan were also very clear about this. Fortunately, they had prepared beforehand, so at this time, although they were a little nervous, they didn't panic. This surprised the three forces, but they didn't take it to heart, and just regarded it as the psychological quality of the experts of the Yi clan. Let's go, don't talk nonsense with them. At this time, the elder of the Cold Whale clan roared and instantly attacked. Under the seabed, a huge cold whale directly appeared on the surface of the sea, opened its bloody mouth, and endless cold air instantly froze the entire sea, not giving the people of the Yi clan the opportunity to escape to the sea. Then, countless cold air suddenly attacked the people of the Yi clan, and the real attack was launched in an instant. Let's go, we must hold on, Yi Qiong shouted. The people of the Yi clan all knew what he meant and also shouted together. Chapter 14:10. Kill. At this time, whether it was the Cold Whale clan, the Mountain Sea Pavilion, or the Wong clan, all the masters rushed in. They all knew that they had to end the battle quickly. If it dragged on for too long, then the result would be unpredictable. Booms. If seen from above, it was like two waves of people colliding fiercely. In an instant, terrifying waves surged out, but these waves were made up of life. Many people were killed on the spot in the first wave of impact, especially the warriors of the Heavenly Rain Palace and other forces, who lost more than half of them in the first collision. Battle cries spread throughout the entire sea in an instant. These Yi-clan Celestial Realm Masters were targeted almost as soon as they came up. They had to face several times more masters than them. As soon as they came up, they were beaten back again and again, and at this time, Yi Shiwen was also found by someone almost immediately. This person was none other than Wang Zhenfei. His eyes were red as he looked at Yi Shiwen and roared, "Leave Yi Shiwen to me. None of you are allowed to intervene." At this time, the sky was simply stained with blood. At any time, someone would be killed on the spot. Screams, the sound of weapons breaking, and the sound of magic tearing through the vast sky penetrated everywhere, making people's souls tremble. Kill them all? Today, the Yi clan will be completely annihilated. Wang Li roared. His strength was simply the best, invincible. The strength of the extremely profound celestial realm was set off by him, and it was extremely terrifying. Under this environment, Yi Shiwen and Wang Zhenfei faced each other in the void. Yi Shiwen, you broke my great way. Today, I will make up for it with your life. Wang Zhenfei's eyes were red as he gnashed his teeth and said, "You want to kill me? You also know that it is impossible. Your Taoist heart has been broken, and now you are just a stray dog." Since they had already shed all pretense of cordiality, Yi Shiwen naturally wouldn't be polite at all. He directly said with a cold smile, as long as I kill you, I can instantly break all the inner demons, recondense my Taoist heart, and even go further. From now on, I can advance by leaps and bounds, and all of this, I have to thank you." Wang Zhenfei said with a hideous grin. There was a faint demonic aura on his face. This was a sign that the heart devil had entered his body. "You've already been possessed by the heart's devil, and you've gone mad," Yi Shiwen said. "What does that matter? As long as you die, everything will be solved." Wang Zhenfei roared. Yi Shiwen was speechless. This was also an extremely powerful visualization method. It could create an incomparably powerful enemy, and if he could defeat this enemy, then he could instantly make a huge breakthrough in his mental cultivation, which was originally very difficult to make any progress in his mental cultivation. However, although this method was effective, it was also very dangerous. If one was not careful, they could die on the spot. Without a bit of confidence, who would dare to do this? And Wang Zhenfei might have already given it his all. Only by killing Yi Shiwen could he have the possibility to move forward. Otherwise, not only would he not be able to move forward, he might not even be able to keep his celestial realm cultivation and would continue to degenerate. At that time, he would really be no different from a good-for-nothing. How could he accept such an outcome? Roar! Wang Zhenfei roared like a wounded beast. He shook the void and instantly attacked Yi Shiwen. He condensed his right fist, and his whole body's blood and qi surged. His fist was like a vast ocean, and it was about to overturn everything. His fist energy was mixed with a bit of blood red and a bit of demonic aura. This was clearly a scene when he was about to go mad. Although it would also become more terrifying. If he was not careful, he would die a tragic death. Yi Shiwen had nowhere to retreat. Wang Zhenfei's fist intent had completely locked him, and there was no way for him to escape. But Yi Shiwen did not want to escape at all. He just sneered and said, "Then I'll let you see the fundamental gap between you and me, and why my Tao can easily break your Tao." Yi Shiwen shouted, and his body's qi and blood surged, intertwining into a pillar of qi that soared into the sky. It was incomparably terrifying, and it intertwined with the powerful aura of the celestial realm in the sky, reflecting each other's brilliance. The golden divinity instantly covered his whole body, and countless golden star power began to condense on his fist, and he suddenly punched. Boom! At this moment, the world lost its color, the sun and the moon lost their light, and the whole sky was covered by Yi Shiwen's golden light. Even in the battlefield of many celestial realm experts, it was extremely dazzling. Crash! The unparalleled shock wave swept out in an instant, directly rushing to the half-step celestial realm experts of the Cold Whale clan and the Mountain Sea Pavilion who rushed over. These experts screamed on the spot and were killed by the shock wave, and many people exploded on the spot, turning into a cloud of blood mist. In the endless golden light, a figure fell out, and it was no one else but Wang Zhenfei. He screamed and groaned, and was hit by Yi Shiwen's divinity on the spot, and it directly began to corrode his body. Although this divinity was only a little bit, it was as heavy as Mount Tai. He couldn't believe it. Although his Taoist heart was broken, his strength was still there, not to mention that he, a dignified celestial realm expert, was injured by a half-step celestial realm kid like Yi Shiwen. He didn't fight with Yi Shiwen last time, and Yi Shiwen's way of leaving made him feel that Yi Shiwen must be fine. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so afraid to fight with him. But he didn't expect that the truth was not like this at all. He roared angrily, like a wounded beast, and his qi and blood that had begun to boil due to Yi Shiwen's shock suddenly calmed down. He was furious to the extreme, and at this time, only killing Yi Shiwen was left in his eyes. He immediately rushed towards Yi Shiwen, and his body, which was not very tall, crushed the whole sky in an instant. His qi and blood ran through the sky, and even the sun and moon lost their light. And Yi Shiwen also didn't show the slightest weakness, and condensed the shattered star fist again. Facing the extremely angry Wang Zhenfei, Yi Shiwen didn't retreat in the slightest, and directly went up to meet him. The battle of the strong, tit for tat, didn't give him any chance to breathe at all. Countless ice surfaces nearby cracked on the spot, and then instantly turned into ice scraps all over the sky. These were all cracked by the aftermath of the fight between the two. And the giant beast under the sea was also constantly repairing the cracks in order to prevent these people from escaping from the bottom of the sea. But they didn't expect that the people of the Yi clan didn't even think about escaping. Their fundamental purpose was to intercept them here. Bang! It was unknown how many moves the two sides had exchanged, but a crisp sound of bones breaking was heard. Kacha! Ah! Wang Zhenfei let out a scream, and his entire right arm was already dripping with blood, and it was hanging down softly at this time. He was actually directly broken by Yi Shiwen, a half-step celestial realm kid. How tyrannical was his physical body? After these celestial realm experts entered the realm of being one with the universe, they could attract the laws of heaven and earth to protect themselves. Their physical bodies were many times more tyrannical than when they were in the law manifestation realm. It was almost impossible for law manifestation realm experts to hurt celestial realm experts. Even if they stood still and let the law manifestation realm warriors hit them, it would be the same. Although the half-step celestial realm was only half a step away from entering the celestial realm, it was not the celestial realm in the end. At this time, he retreated again and again, and his face was shocked. The qi and blood on his face were still tumbling, making his face look strange red. Impossible, I have always been a master who can challenge higher realms. How can I be defeated by you? Wang Zhenfei couldn't believe it, and his eyes were bloodshot as he roared angrily. Why is it impossible? Yi Shiwen sneered. Do you really think that being invincible in the same realm is really invincible in the same realm? Not only will I destroy your Tao, but I will also break your confidence. Yi Shiwen took a step forward. Under the sun, the divinity on his body was shining with golden light, and his eyes were as deep as the stars. Bastard, what do you think I am? Wang Zhenfei roared, and with a long whistle, many masters around were injured by him, which was enough to prove that his strength was extraordinary. But now, he was beaten like this. It could only be said that Yi Shiwen was more terrifying than him. For me, You are just a stumbling block on my way forward. If you didn't insist on blocking in front of me, it would not be like this. Yi Shiwen said, just a stumbling block. Go to hell. Wang Zhenfei almost went crazy and blasted towards Yi Shiwen. His fist broke through the sky and pierced through the long rainbow, directly sweeping in front of Yi Shiwen. Dang! There was a loud roar directly, and the 8 treasures heaven and earth cauldron in Yi Shiwen's body automatically protected his body. Although Yi Shiwen's strength was far from enough, the 8 treasures heaven and earth cauldron was a top-notch heaven-level martial tool with infinite power, automatically protecting him, almost in an invincible position. Unless the strength was much stronger than him. Otherwise, facing the 8 treasures heaven and earth cauldron would be depressed to the point of madness. I will fight with you. Wang Zhenfei blasted a few more punches in succession, and each punch could explode the stars, completely shattering the ice under his feet. Yi Shiwen raised the 8 treasures heaven and earth cauldron, like a king lifting a cauldron, directly smashing it towards Wang Zhenfei. Dang! There was a loud sound, and Wang Zhenfei was blasted out on the spot. He finally could not hold back a mouthful of blood and directly spat it on the spot. He was almost killed on the spot. Yi Shiwen did not stop and directly stepped out. His figure crossed the void and chased again. The 8 treasures heaven and earth cauldron in his hand smashed down again. Boom! The entire void began to shatter inch by inch, like a glass mirror, completely shattered. Yi Shiwen's courage had reached such a point. Stop! Chapter 14:11. Stop! Along with a loud shout, a big hand pressed down from the sky. It was Wang Qi who had made his move. He saw Wang Zhenfei retreating step by step in front of Yi Shiwen, and finally couldn't help but attack. A terrifying aura instantly enveloped Wang Zhenfei, not giving him any chance to escape. Wang Qi's cultivation was many times stronger than Wang Zhenfei's. He, Feng Wuliang, and the elder of the Cold Whale clan besieged Yi Qiong. Even with Yi Qiong's cultivation, he was still quite embarrassed, but he could still hold on. Right now, all the warriors of Yi clan were holding on. In the eyes of others, they were like cornered beasts fighting back before death. But only the people of Yi clan knew what they were waiting for. So even if it was extremely serious, they still had to hold on. If they could block this wave, they could turn the tables, and these people would all die. Boom! The octagonal cauldron in Yi Shiwen's hand expanded against the wind, protecting Yi Shiwen inside. With a loud buzzing sound, the terrifying power of the countershock, even though Yi Shiwen was inside the octagonal cauldron, was still shaken, and a mouthful of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Without the octagonal cauldron, this palm alone was enough to seriously injure him. The tyrant body was not omnipotent. In a situation where there was a huge gap between the realms, even the tyrant body could be seriously injured. Yi Shiwen's movement paused for a moment, and Wang Zhenfei also escaped the disaster. He couldn't help but feel a little lucky. He almost died in Yi Shiwen's hands. He looked at Yi Shiwen with eyes full of fear. He couldn't imagine that a half-step Celestial Realm kid could be so terrifying. But Yi Shiwen didn't have any intention of letting him go. He directly threw out a sword light, and Wang Zhenfei, who was still feeling lucky to escape the disaster, had his head exploded on the spot, and his spirit was destroyed. Little bastard, go to hell! At this time, Wang Qi was completely angry. Under his eyes, Wang Zhenfei died tragically in Yi Shiwen's hands. This was simply a slap in his face. Boom! The terrifying attack instantly fell, but this time, Yi Shiwen would not foolishly resist it. Just now, he had no choice but to kill Wang Zhenfei, but now, how could he continue to resist? Whoosh! His figure directly turned into a ball of golden light and disappeared on the spot, and the place just now had been smashed into pieces. Several warriors who were half a step away from the Celestial Realm in time were blasted into ashes on the spot. However, Wang Qi's offensive was not over yet. He was closely chasing after Yi Shiwen and constantly bombarding him, but he soon discovered that something was wrong. Yi Shiwen had actually run into the group of experts of the 3 forces. So when Wang Qi shot his palm down, many experts were killed on the spot, causing chaos everywhere. Damn little bastard. Wang Qi was furious. He couldn't care less about Yi Qiong anymore. In any case, Feng Wuliang and the Frost Whale clan elder were here to deal with Yi Qiong. Even if Yi Qiong wasn't here, it wouldn't hurt the overall situation. His speed was so fast that he almost tore the void in an instant and rushed in front of Yi Shiwen. He was extremely fast. An average person wouldn't be able to react in time. Even Yi Shiwen was almost caught up by him in an instant. Wang Qi's big hand directly penetrated the void and grabbed Yi Shiwen's head, intending to crush it on the spot. Dang! The 8-treasure heaven and earth cauldron in Yi Shiwen's body automatically protected his body, blocking this extremely fast claw attack. Yi Shiwen was blasted away on the spot. Yi Shiwen's figure directly crashed into the ice layer and tore a huge scar on the ice layer. In the blink of an eye, Yi Shiwen was submerged in the ice layer. The huge, vicious beast in the sea was constantly spitting out cold air, which strengthened the ice layer. Yi Shiwen was almost frozen in an instant. And at this moment, a cold shout came from the sky. Wang Qi, today is the day you die. The figure of a middle-aged man directly crossed the void and firmly locked Wang Qi with a powerful thought. Yi Jin, how can it be you? Wang Qi was almost dumbfounded on the spot because this person was none other than one of the current deputy palace masters of the Heavenly Rain Palace, Yi Jin. He saw that Yi Jin was a middle-aged man with a pale face without a beard. He looked somewhat delicate, but at this moment, the clothes on his body were fluttering, blown by the momentum. Ah, what are you doing here? We're doing here, Yi Jin sneered and said. When you were so happy to plot against us, you probably didn't expect that we already knew about this news. Today, it's your turn to die without a burial place. And now, the morale of the Yi family's masters was greatly boosted, as well as the remaining masters of the Heavenly Rain Palace and other forces. At this time, there were only less than 30 people left. They originally thought that today would be a battle to the death and finally fall, but they did not expect the road to turn around. At this time, they could not help but cry tears of joy. If it were not for the Wang family's people who wanted to kill them and silence them, they might have already betrayed the Yi family and joined the Wang family. In any case, it was all for the Heavenly Rain Palace, so what was the difference? The Wang family and the Yi family were fighting for the leadership of the Heavenly Rain Palace. So what did it have to do with them? Thinking of this, many people did not have the intention to help at all. If it were not for the Wang family, who wanted to exterminate them, so what if they just stood by and watched? They just fought until now, originally thinking of killing one more person, but now suddenly there was a chance of survival. How could they not be excited? Kill! The masters brought by Yi Jin were like ferocious tigers coming down the mountain, immediately killing the masters of the three forces. Boom! 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 Terrible explosions constantly swept out, and Yi Jin also joined the offensive against Wang Li, Feng Wuliang, and the elder of the Cold Whale clan. Yi Jin's terrible strength was obviously a lot higher than the others. Almost single-handedly suppressed Wang Li and the others to the point that they did not have the strength to fight back. No wonder the Yi family was very confident about this matter. Just Yi Jin alone was enough to turn the situation around. In front of the real masters, the so-called advantage of numbers was simply a joke. Yi Jin, today this is a matter between your Yi family and the Wang family. We will leave and not interfere. How about it? Feng Wuliang said in a panic, in the blink of an eye, betraying the Wang family. Want to leave? Today, none of you can leave. I will just let you all stay. Weaken the strength of both sides. Let's see how you still have the ability to compete with my Heavenly Rain Palace. Yi Jin said disdainfully. It was already time to draw the net. How could she let them escape? With a sneak attack, Yi Jin appeared right in front of Feng Wuliang. With a single punch, the entire void was shattered by the force of the punch. Boom! Feng Wuliang was hit on the spot, directly blasted out. His entire chest had been smashed by Yi Jin's fist. He retreated again and again, wanting to avoid Yi Jin's continued attack, but Yi Jin almost just stepped on the ground, and the terrible shock directly blasted into his chest. Boom! Feng Wuliang was blasted into the layer of ice on the spot, His whole body was already a bloody mess, and his body had already exploded on the spot. A celestial realm master died just like that. It could be imagined that Yi Jin's cultivation had already reached an extremely terrifying level. Uncle Yi Jin's cultivation is probably about to reach the peak. To be able to cultivate to this level in a place like the Heavenly Rain Palace, Uncle Yi Jin is indeed a peerless genius who was famous for a time. Yi Qiong also couldn't help but have a strange light in his eyes. Feng Wuliang wasn't even able to block it. This completely frightened the Frost Whale clan elder and Wang Li. Yi Jin, I didn't expect you to be so low-key normally, but I didn't expect your cultivation to have already reached this level. The Cold Whale clan elder stared at Yi Jin and said, different from Wang Li, this Cold Whale clan master had already dealt with Yi Jin many times in the past, and the two sides had fought many times, but he didn't expect Yi Jin to hide so deeply. As a deputy palace lord, his performance was not at all outstanding, and he didn't expect that when he attacked, it would be a thunderous strike. Yi Jin didn't explain much. Most of the time, he was also the representative of the Yi clan, and the Heavenly Rain Palace didn't trust him that much, so he didn't act too overbearing. Just this attack alone was enough to display an incomparably terrifying level of cultivation. However, this didn't mean that the Cold Whale clan elder and Wang Li would be captured without a fight. Facing the incomparably powerful Yi Jin, the two of them joined forces and launched an intense collision, a desperate fight. The confrontation between the top-notch Celestial Realm Masters was invincible. Even Yi Qiong didn't participate in the battle this time, believing that Yi Jin would be able to take care of the two of them. Instead, he joined in the cleaning up of the others. Without the restraint of the Cold Whale clan elder and Wang Li, Yi Qiong was like a ferocious tiger coming down the mountain, sweeping through a large area, and no one could stop Yi Qiong's attack. However, at this time, Wang Li and the Cold Whale clan elder were both powerless, so how could they stop Yi Qiong? Boom! The entire layer of ice was completely blasted into pieces, and Yi Qiong directly attacked the Cold Whale below. An incomparably terrifying blade, Qi, directly pierced into the body of the Cold Whale. That Cold Whale let out a mournful cry, and its whole body was a bloody mess, blood gushing out. This Cold Whale was not Yi Qiong's opponent at all. Although it had also entered the celestial realm, it was not enough in front of a terrifying master like Yi Qiong. In just a moment, it became a dead fish buried at the bottom of the sea. Boom! Suddenly, from the layer of ice, a terrifying momentum soared into the sky, and a golden aura soared into the sky. It was none other than Yi Shiwen who had escaped. Chapter 14:12. After Yi Shiwen broke free, he also joined the battle. If it weren't for that Cold Whale, he would have already broken free. A mere layer of ice couldn't trap him, but the problem was that this Cold Whale was giving him a headache. This Cold Whale was at least in the second or third level of the celestial realm. It was difficult for Yi Shiwen to break free in a short time. If it weren't for Yi Qiong, it would have taken a while to break free. No, how can this be? Wang Qi's horrified voice came from the sky, but he had been caught by Yi Jin and directly exploded. He no longer had the high-spirited feeling he had when he besieged the Yi clan. It was just a struggle before death. Without Wang Qi's help, the elder of the Cold Whale clan could not resist for long and was directly punched by Yi Jin on the spot. Without these three leaders, the remaining masters of the three forces could not escape at all. They were directly chased by the angry Yi clan and Heavenly Rain Palace people until they died. This battle was earth-shattering. Even nearly 100 Celestial Realm Masters were involved, and in the end, more than half of them died. It was definitely a battle like the twilight of the gods. Many masters of the three forces who were blown up turned into a sky full of blood rain and scattered on the sea, attracting many fierce beasts in the sea to hunt for food. Although the battle here was earth-shattering, whether it was the Heavenly Rain Palace, the Cold Whale clan, or the Mountain Sea Pavilion, none of them reacted. They tacitly did not make a move. But the final result surprised them. They thought that in this battle, the Yi clan would be wiped out on the spot, but they didn't expect that in the end, it was the Wang clan that was wiped out. especially in the mouths of the surviving masters of the Heavenly Rain Palace and other forces. The Wong clan had become a treacherous existence. If it weren't for them, how could they have lost so much? Especially in this situation, the Heavenly Rain Palace could be said to be in a turbulent mood. They thought that the Wong clan came to help them, but they didn't expect that in the end, they would do such a despicable thing. Although they knew that the Wong clan was targeting the Yi clan, in order to target the Yi clan, they actually joined forces with the Cold Whale clan and the Mountain Sea Pavilion Masters. Especially those who had family members killed in this battle, they were even more furious and asked the Heavenly Rain Palace to expel the Wong clan masters. In the face of such turbulent public sentiment and the pressure of the victorious Yi clan, even the higher-ups of the Heavenly Rain Palace, who favored the Wong clan, had to acquiesce in this matter. As soon as Yi Jin returned to the Heavenly Rain Palace, he initiated a purge of the Wong family. Speaking of which, Yi Qiong and the others weren't from the Heavenly Rain Palace, so if they made a move, it wouldn't be right. However, Yi Jin was a disciple of the Heavenly Rain Palace, and he had climbed all the way to the position of Vice Palace Master. They could only let Yi Jin take action. Several masters of the Wong clan faction who did not want to withdraw from the higher-ups were directly killed by Yi Jin in the name of colluding with foreign enemies. The remaining masters of the Wong clan faction had no choice but to withdraw from the higher-ups of the Heavenly Rain Palace. They could only maintain a tacit attitude towards the palace master of the Heavenly Rain Palace. Firstly, the public sentiment was turbulent. Everyone's attitude towards the Wong clan was very bad, and they needed to appease them. Secondly, the Yi clan also needed an explanation. Although they had won a great victory this time, and even used this opportunity to trick the Wong clan, they were indeed schemed against. Moreover, various signs showed that many higher-ups of the Heavenly Rain Palace were involved in this matter. The Yi clan's anger also needed to be appeased, so they could only let Yi Jin take action. However, they also knew that the Yi family would at most clean up the Wong family's faction. They wouldn't really annex the Heavenly Rain Palace, because that would be a violation of the agreement between the human race and the sea race. Although the Yi family was strong, they still couldn't bear such a big label. It was precisely because they knew this that they allowed the Yi clan to take action. It was not until all the Wong clan faction was cleaned up that Yi Jin stopped. At this point, the Wong clan's many years of hard work fell short of success. Even if they flew into a rage, it was useless. They also schemed against the Yi clan. Unfortunately, in the end, they did not succeed. Instead, the Yi clan used this matter to turn the tables. No matter how angry the loser was, it was just the bark of a defeated dog. The winner was not to be blamed. The long-term impact of this matter did not go far. Originally, the people of the Cold Whale clan and the Mountain Sea Pavilion thought that there would be a fierce battle between the Yi clan and the Wong clan. At that time, no matter who won, the Heavenly Rain Palace would be greatly affected. Their strength would be greatly reduced, and they would not be able to continue to compete with them for the Spirit Crystal Vein. Who knew that in the end, the Yi clan did not make a ruthless move and only cleaned them out of the core level. Therefore, although the Yi clan won a great victory in the end, it did not affect the overall strength of the Heavenly Rain Palace. On the contrary, because of the fall of dozens of Celestial Realm Masters, it could be said that some of the strength of the Heavenly Rain Palace had been hurt. These masters had occupied 1/5 of the Celestial Realm Masters in their clan, or even more than 1/4. It was unknown how many tens of thousands of years of cultivation, but they were all killed in one go. It could be said that it was painful to the bone, and in this case, the expected withdrawal of the Heavenly Rain Palace did not happen. On the contrary, because of the strong support of the Yi clan, the strength of the Heavenly Rain Palace did not decline but rose. They continued to completely oppress the two major forces. The battle did not subside because of this. On the contrary, it entered a new stage. Whether it was the Heavenly Rain Palace, the Mountain Sea Pavilion, or the Cold Whale clan, they were determined to get the Spirit Crystal Vein and invested more strength in the competition. And the battle between such major forces would definitely last for a long time. In the blink of an eye, a year's time flashed by again. In this year, Yi Shiwen finally completely pushed his strength to the peak of the early stage of half-step celestial realm. He was only a little bit away from breaking through. For him, he could almost cross this threshold again at any time. At that time, compared to a year ago, his combat power would definitely have an earth-shaking change. Now, if he encountered Wang Jinfei again, he could even injure him with momentum alone. Although their combat power seemed to be within the same level, there was still a huge gap. On the endless sea, on a small island, a small city was located on the small island, and Yi Shiwen was sitting on this small island. Below this small island, there was a spirit crystal vein, and Yi Shiwen had the combat power of the celestial realm, so he naturally had to sit in this place to prevent other masters from causing trouble. Yi Shiwen had been sitting here for more than half a year, and the squad had long been disbanded. As Qiu Yao had also passed the heaven's retribution and entered the celestial realm, the mission of this squad seemed to have come to an end. In the situation where the three major forces had completely fallen out, this kind of behavior was too small. The three major forces all focused on the confrontation of the Tao Legion, which was the real key to determining the final outcome. In this half a year, Yi Shiwen also encountered several surprise attacks by the masters of the Cold Whale clan and the Mountain Sea Pavilion, but they did not succeed. Because it was a surprise attack, they did not arrange two powerful masters. In the end, they were all killed by Yi Shiwen. Among them, there were even masters at the first level of Celestial Realm, but they were directly killed by Yi Shiwen before they could even face him. In the past half a year, in addition to guarding this small city and taking action when someone came to raid, Yi Shiwen spent most of his time on cultivation. Yi Shiwen had refined the word seal to a deeper level in the past 6 months, and had completely suppressed the remnant of the yin-yang life and death diagram. In this process, Yi Shiwen also tried to understand the way of life and death, but he found that he could not understand the way of life and death at all. This way, it was more mysterious and strange than the power of space. Yi Shiwen knew that when the masters of the celestial realm cultivated to the peak, they had to see through life and death, which was to understand the way of life and death. Only then could they truly begin to transcend the world, just like the Abyss Demon Lord. The strength of the Abyss Demon Lord was extremely tyrannical. He was suppressed for countless years, but he was still alive because he had seen through life and death, and he was not far from the demon god's position. But these seem to be very distant things for the current Yi Shiwen. But just understanding this way of life and death had great benefits for Yi Shiwen's cultivation. All kinds of martial arts were fundamentally to put people to death, which was the way of death. His Phoenix regeneration technique was the way of life. Just understanding the way of life and death had immeasurable benefits for his cultivation. This half a year was also a very rare opportunity for him. He could calm his heart and cultivate. Although he didn't have Elder Ye's guidance, it gave him time to settle the things that Elder Ye had explained to him. This made his breath more stable. Although he had not broken into the half-step celestial realm middle stage compared with half a year ago, his combat power had improved a lot. On this day, suddenly, 3 figures flew directly over the small city where he presided. That tyrannical breath was released unscrupulously, shocking all directions. Originally, Yi Shiwen did not want to poke his nose into other people's business. In this endless sea, there were countless masters, and this was not surprising. It was even said that in the depths of this endless sea, there were terrifying creatures that survived from ancient times. However, Yi Shiwen suddenly felt a trace of a very familiar aura. Yes, he felt a familiar aura almost immediately. That was the breath that belonged to the gods. This kind of breath was the most sensitive to him. First, he had divinity to protect his body, and then he became a god's messenger, so he was very sensitive to this matter. Thinking of this, he immediately rose from the ground and flew out without any hesitation. He chased after the 3 figures closely. Chapter 14:13. Yi Shiwen's figure was extremely fast. A pair of wind and thunder wings faintly formed on his back. In an instant, his figure had already flown thousands of miles away and was chasing after the 3 figures. However, he soon decided to directly sink to the bottom of the sea in order not to disturb the three figures in front of him. Yishuan soon caught up with the three people in the sea. When he saw these three people, he discovered that the situation was not as he had imagined. These three people were not in the same group. Among them, a young man in his 20s was constantly fleeing in front of them. His figure was gliding in the sky like a bird. And behind him, two experts of the sea race were in hot pursuit. One of them looked like an old man with a slightly thin stature. His face was faintly flickering with divine light. Beside him was a tall and sturdy middle-aged expert of the sea race. His face was almost covered with scales, and he looked like a mermaid. He was also in hot pursuit. After all, this young man was injured, so he couldn't run fast. Soon, the two experts of the sea race caught up with him. They formed a fan-shaped formation and surrounded the young man. Fang Qi, you'd better obediently surrender. You'll have the opportunity to live forever if you submit to our God. Those fake gods that you believe in don't deserve to be listed as gods. The old man of the sea race sneered and said, "Bah, old fish demon and Cho Hongchong. Even if I die, I will never surrender to you messengers of the false gods." The young man from the human race said. Lien Shan faintly felt a sense of righteousness. Divine messenger. Yishuan almost immediately thought of this word, because he was very familiar with this word. Ever since he had been forced to become the messenger of that unknown god, he had looked up relevant information. Although Yi Mo had erased the contract, but he still felt very uneasy. Know yourself and know your enemy to be invincible. Therefore, he now had a deep understanding of the so-called divine messenger. In the era of the existence of the gods, the divine messengers were the representatives of the gods in the world. They represented the gods to promote the power of the gods. Generally speaking, the gods would not directly descend, and the battles between them were often wars between their representatives. Moreover, gods' envoys often had a very important position in the system of the gods. If it was during the most glorious period of the gods, then it was simply impossible for him to be appointed as a god's envoy in such a muddled manner. Only in such a chaotic era, when all the gods had retired into seclusion, could such a thing happen. Listening to the conversation between the three of them, Yishuan couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. The gods had disappeared for countless years, and the so-called mythological era had also ended many years ago. Everything that happened in the mythological era was a distant legend for the current warriors. But regarding the reason for the disappearance of the gods, most forces were vague about it. Yishuan didn't know whether it was because they didn't know the reason or because they couldn't speak about it. But one thing was certain, and that was the gods no longer existed in the present world. Therefore, even the divine messengers, as well as a series of products of the gods, had not appeared for a long time. Yishuan thought that becoming a divine messenger was just an isolated phenomenon, but now he actually met three divine messengers. Moreover, it seemed that they hadn't been appointed in a hurry. Obviously, they had been appointed for a long time. They all knew each other, and these divine messengers often represented the gods behind them. At this time, Yishuan remembered that the gods were about to return, and the world would soon fall into the rule of the gods, and his heart couldn't help but tighten. Although he didn't know why the gods had disappeared, and although the mythological era had ended, but he could instinctively feel that the return of the gods wouldn't be a good thing, and he instinctively rejected such a thing. But what was going on with these three divine messengers? Yishuan calmed his heart and quietly listened. Fang Qi, as long as you hand over the inheritance of the gods, we will let you live today. How about it? The old man of the sea race, the old devilfish, said, "May the gods be with us. Don't be delusional. How can I hand over the inheritance of my gods to you heretics of a foreign race?" Fang Qi sneered and said. His injuries were getting better little by little, and it seemed that there was a kind of mysterious power circulating in his body. Yishuan was very clear about this power, and it was the power of the gods. He also had this kind of power in his body, but he hadn't used it yet. Then don't blame me. How long do you think the divine messenger alliance of your human race can exist? It's really ridiculous. Didn't the human race have no gods in ancient times? The old devil fish sneered and said, "Your human race is vainly trying to stand on its own, and you are courting death, so the gods have joined forces to suppress you. Didn't the human race have no gods in ancient times?" Yi Shiwen was secretly surprised in his heart. He didn't know about these things, and the human race was vainly trying to stand on its own. But what was this independence? There were too many things in his heart that he didn't understand, but now that EMO was also in a deep sleep, he didn't know who to ask. Obediently hand over the inheritance of the gods. At this time, Cho Hanchong also opened his mouth and said with an evil grin, "If you don't hand it over, then don't blame me for peeling off your skin, pulling out your tendons, and digging out your inheritance from your body. I will not hand over the inheritance to you even if I self-destruct on the spot. This is the inheritance of the ancestors of my human race. And even if it is destroyed, it will not fall into the hands of the outsiders." Fong Chi's expression was abnormally calm as he said, "Really stubborn. Let's see who else can come and save you today. I heard that you are ranked 9th in the Oracle Alliance. TSK. If we kill you, there will only be 8 people left. When that time comes, when we slaughter you one by one, let's see what you can be proud of." The old devil fish curled his lips and sneered with a bit of disdain. "Then come and try. The blood of the human race has never stopped. Ever since I inherited my master's inheritance of the gods, I have already thought that this day would come." A terrifying aura spread out from Fong Chi's body. Countless strange powers that belonged to the gods fused with his body, causing his strength to skyrocket. One level after another, his strength skyrocketed. He actually directly forced his strength to the peak of the 6th level of the heaven realm in one breath. Among the people that Yi Shiwen had seen, not counting the experts of the Yi clan, only the Deputy Palace Lord Yi Jin had such a cultivation. In the heaven realm, the 7th level of the heaven realm was a huge threshold. If one could cross it, then he would be a famous big shot in the entire ancient Barons continent, known as a giant-level character. However, such people were very few. Except for famous people like Yi Jintian and Yi Tianxiong, most experts who crossed the 7th level of the heaven realm were in closed-door training to comprehend the way of life and death, trying to break through to the eternal realm. Therefore, they were usually elusive. Generally speaking, in a force like the Heavenly Rain Palace, even experts at the level of the Deputy Palace Lord were only at the 5th or 6th level of the Heaven Realm. As for the 7th level of the Heaven Realm, they were definitely at the level of the Supreme Elder. They were like living fossils, and they would not show themselves easily. And among those Heaven Realm experts, 7 or 8 out of 10 would be stuck in the 7th level of the Heaven Realm. Even Yi Qiong, who was one of the Yi clan's 5 tyrants, was actually only at the 5th level of the Heaven Realm. There was still a long way to go before reaching the 6th level of the Heaven Realm, let alone the peak of the 6th level of the Heaven Realm. As for Yi Shiwen, the difference was even greater. At most, he could sweep through the 1st level of the Heaven Realm. Compared to the above 3, there was a huge gap. Then don't blame us for being impolite. My master is currently in a deep sleep and needs to replenish his energy. If he can devour the inheritance of a god, Kaka, he will definitely be able to wake up in advance. At that time, I will definitely be rewarded," that old devil fish said with a wild laugh. The aura on his body was also rising crazily, and he actually directly stepped into the peak of the 6th level of the Heaven Realm. And next to him, Cho Hanchong was also increasing his strength little by little. In a short while, he actually stepped into the peak of the 6th level of the Heaven Realm. It can actually be used like this. Yi Shiwen was secretly surprised at the bottom of the sea. He could see that the cultivation of these 3 people obviously had not stepped into the 6th level of the Heaven Realm, but by relying on the fusion with the power of the gods, they could actually soar to the peak of the 6th level of the Heaven Realm. This leap in combat strength was simply a tremendous change. And this was the so-called divine technique. In the mythological era, this kind of divine technique was not uncommon. Many people relied on the divine technique bestowed by the gods to go on expeditions everywhere. This was not uncommon. However, the god that Yi Shiwen inherited from Who Knew Where was obviously extremely weak. He did not even have time to teach him the divine technique, and directly fell into a deep sleep on the spot. As a result, Yi Shiwen had the title of Divine Envoy, but he did not know any divine technique. If he could have such a divine technique, then wouldn't his combat strength also double? The prerequisite to have a divine technique was to be a person who had been blessed by the gods, and as a divine envoy, he naturally had no problem in this aspect. Thinking of this, Yi Shiwen could not help but look at the three people with fiery eyes. "Let's fight!" Fang Qi shouted, and a bronze spear appeared in his hand. This bronze spear was stained with blood, and there were many cracks on it, as if it had gone through countless battles and could break at any time. The most amazing thing was that the blood on this bronze spear was actually very fresh, and it was covered with a terrifying power. That was the power of the blood of the enemies killed by the bronze spear, and it could also be seen that the original owner of this bronze spear was terrifying. Chapter 14:14. Fang Qi's qi and blood surged, and a faint divine pressure radiated out. The spear in his hand buzzed, and the roar of a powerhouse could be faintly heard. A trident appeared in old Devilfish's hand, and as he brandished it, the entire surface of the sea began to boil. It was like boiling water, seething and roaring. He was like the monarch of the sea, controlling everything in his path. The other Cho Hongchang's qi and blood surged, and he clenched his fists tightly, faintly condensing into ice and snow. Boom! Cho Hongchang took a step forward, and the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The entire world shattered on the spot, and countless divine powers began to sweep into a storm. It could be seen how dreamy it was. The qi and blood of his whole body began to burn, and he directly rushed towards Fang Qi. He waved his fist, and everything froze. As his fist energy boiled, it surged and shook the entire sky. A vast aura swept out, and it was impossible to accept. Even in the sea, Yi Shiwen could still feel a threatening chill sweeping over. This was the power of a god, and even the sky was withering. 100,000 miles of ice. The fist energy blasted in front of Fang Qi. What are the gods of the human race? Only the gods of my sea race are supreme and invincible. Cho Hongchang roared. The space around him froze, and then it instantly shattered. At this time, Fang Qi moved, and his spear directly broke through the sky. The boundless spear light broke through the sky, traversing 3,000 miles. Boom! The terrifying power and the spear light fiercely collided in the void, directly shattering everything. A layer of seawater also evaporated, and a layer of pure terrifying power was shaved off. The battle between the two was like a battle between celestial beings. Originally, the sixth layer of the celestial realm could be said to be a very big threshold, and also a peak state. In addition, both of them had the inheritance of the gods, and they were the top figures in this realm. Their battle was extraordinary, and the sky fell and the earth cracked. In addition, both of them did not hold back at all. In fact, they wanted to kill each other, and at this time, it was extremely tragic. The spear in Fang Qi's hand broke through the fist energy, and with irresistible force, it stabbed into his fist on the spot. Bang! With a loud collision sound, Cho Hongchang retreated. His face was livid. One of his fingers was broken on the spot. Although he used his divine power to heal it, his face was still ugly. To him, this was a kind of humiliation. Today, if you want the inheritance, then exchange your lives for it. Fang Qi sneered. The long spear in his hand buzzed as he took a step forward. It was as if he wanted to cross the sky. He took the initiative to attack Cho Hongchang like a god descending to earth. Today, let's see which deity can shake the world with his might. Cho Hongchang's face was livid as he said, "Today, I must smash your head with one punch." His fist had already recovered to its original state, but the cold air around him had become even more intense. Soon, it had formed a sea of ice and snow. Divine power was boiling within it. Initially, old Devilfish had wanted to help, but now he didn't dare to. He knew that Cho Hongchang was burning with rage, and he was determined to fight it out with Fang Qi. However, he wasn't worried. If anything happened, he could do it himself. He didn't need to be afraid. This world of ice and snow seemed to have formed a huge world. It was shocking. In an instant, the entire sea had turned into a world of ice and snow. Those who blaspheme my God must die and be buried with him. Cho Hongchang's voice was as cold as the winter. He took a step forward, and layers of ice waves appeared under his feet. He once again rushed towards Fang Qi. The waves soared into the sky, and the ice-colored waves froze everything in an instant. Surprisingly, the ice waves could move. They kept swaying like a real tide. Within the ice waves, countless figures made of ice appeared. They shouted and shouted as they charged at Fang Qi. "Huh!" Fang Qi let out a loud shout, and the spear in his hand burst into a terrifying light in the air. It was dazzling, and countless rays of light covered the sky. A circle of terrifying energy spread out in all directions, and those ice men who had rushed over were blown to pieces on the spot. They couldn't get close to Fang Qi at all. At this time, Fang Qi's pupils also turned dark gold, bursting with an intense light. Then, he suddenly stabbed out with his spear. The whole sky collapsed as he fought with Cho Hongchang. Both of them were terrifying existences who were powerful to the extreme. If it weren't for those terrifying existences who were above the 7th level of the celestial realm, who were in seclusion all year round, it would be impossible to be a match for these two people. Boom! After who knew how many times they fought, Fang Qi's spear stabbed towards Cho Hongchang's face. The long spear was like a dragon as it rushed towards him with irresistible force. Cho Hongchang didn't even have time to react. He had just been blocked by Fang Qi's spear. All of a sudden, a trident appeared out of thin air like a ghost and shot straight at Wang Jio's head. If Fang Qi continued to stab at Wang Jio now, he would be pierced by the trident as well. Even he didn't dare to take such a risk. He immediately swept it towards the trident. Clang! A loud metal clanging sound was heard. A huge force swept out. All of this took a long time to describe, but it actually happened in an instant. Fang Qi had practically experienced life and death in an instant. Yi Shiwen was enjoying watching from below. These martial arts were simply not like the martial arts of mortals, but rather the martial arts of the legendary gods. Neither of them dared to be careless. A single mistake could kill them on the spot. At this time, Cho Hongchang's eyes were completely red. He laughed grimly and roared, "Die!" He was like a monster that had gone berserk. The golden qi and blood on his body surged endlessly. He was like a berserk god. He would have been pierced to death on the spot if it wasn't for Old Devil Yu's help. At this time, Old Devil Yu's figure appeared in the air. It was indeed him who had attacked Fang Qi. At this time, Cho Hongchang realized that there was a certain gap between him and Fang Qi. If this continued, then it was very likely that he would be killed on the spot. He didn't care about these things anymore. He joined forces with Old Devil Yu to attack Fang Qi. Fang Qi's strength was tyrannical. He had reached the peak of the 6th level of the celestial realm. But when facing two tyrannical masters who were not much inferior to him, he could only resist. He slowly fell into a disadvantageous position. Soon, many fatal wounds appeared on his body. Each wound was so deep that the bone could be seen. Some were caused by martial arts attacks. Some were caused by divine techniques. Every wound was fatal. If it wasn't for the protection of divine techniques, he would have died on the spot. After a while, Fang Qi was retreating step by step. His whole body was bleeding. His wounds healed. He looked like a god of war bathed in blood. On the other side, Old Devil Yu and Cho Hongchang weren't much better. Although they didn't have as many wounds as Fang Qi, the fatal wounds on their bodies were just as big. Facing Fang Qi, who was in a desperate state, even Old Devil Yu and Cho Hongchang were terrified. But they had already come this far. How could they admit defeat so easily? Both sides had a reason to fight to the death. Huff, huff, huff. Fang Qi was constantly panting. Even the breath he exhaled contained the smell of blood. It could be seen how serious his injuries were. But he had no other choice. There was no way out. Come on, let's fight to the death. He stood up. Blood flowed down from the spear in his hand. However, he waved the spear in his hand even faster. Boom! 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 Terrifying shock waves of the battle swept out. The entire sky was filled with violent explosions, and the shock waves danced chaotically. At this time, a figure stumbled out. It was Fang Qi. He held his spear with one hand and half knelt in the sky. There was a huge wound on his chest. It was the wound caused by Cho Hongchang's attack. Go to hell! Cho Hongchang let out a terrifying roar and rushed towards Fang Qi. He wanted to give Fang Qi the final fatal blow. At this moment, the layer of ice on the surface of the sea suddenly cracked. Then, a terrifying amount of true elemental energy condensed, and the surrounding spiritual energy began to disperse. Then, an oppressive feeling spread out, causing Cho Hongchang to stop moving. Crack! Crack! La la! The ice layer broke apart little by little. Then, the extremely terrifying saber light jumped out in an instant, traversing thousands of feet. Boom! This saber light fiercely bombarded Cho Hongchang's body with lightning speed. It directly broke all of his protective vigor chi. At this critical moment, a phantom of a deity jumped out to protect him. Unexpectedly, it was cut in half on the spot and blasted into Cho Hongchang's body. Bang! Cho Hongchang's body was about to explode in an instant. If it weren't for the god's shadow blocking most of the saber radiance for him, this saber radiance alone would have cut him in half on the spot. But even so, he was severely injured in an instant. His body flew upside down and directly passed out. He almost died. All the bones in his body were broken. Old Devil Yu on the side saw this scene. He was suddenly frightened. Although he didn't see who it was, he almost made a decision in an instant. After a big hand directly grabbed Cho Hongchang's body, his figure quickly turned into a ball of golden light and disappeared into the sky. He immediately escaped from this terrifying place. Chapter 14:15. Old Demon Yu was shocked by the saber. He did not even dare to stay at the scene for a long time. He did not even see who the other party was, but he did not dare to stay and take the risk because he knew very well that the person who could seriously injure Cho Hongchang with a saber was most likely a great power. This was not impossible. The endless sea was as mysterious as the boundless starry sky. There were often many great powers in it for closed-door training. These great powers often did closed-door training for hundreds of years or even thousands of years without moving. It was possible that their battle had alarmed the great powers under the sea. I don't know which senior came to help. Junior Fang Qi is very grateful. At this time, Fang Qi could not help but say. The layer of ice directly shattered, and a cyan figure jumped out from it. It was none other than Yi Shiwen. At the last moment, Yi Shiwen still decided to take action. He directly injured Cho Hongchang and scared Old Demon Yu away. Naturally, this was not his own strength. With his current strength, if he went in, he would simply end up as cannon fodder. He had relied on the emergence immortal exterminating saber. Although this ferocious saber had severely injured Cho Hongchang, that saber had already drained all his spiritual essence. Otherwise, he would not have been able to severely injure Cho Hongchang, who was protected by Shinshu. When Fang Qi saw Yi Shiwen, he could not help but be a little stunned. He originally thought that some reclusive senior passed by and saw them as an eyesore, so he saved him. He did not expect it to be a young man. However, he did not have any contempt. After all, Yi Shiwen had just saved him. He was not so ungrateful. Secondly, although Yi Shiwen's strength did not seem high, he could seriously injure Cho Hongchang with a saber and almost put him in a dead end. Such combat power, no matter what method he used, was still a terrifying existence. Thank you for saving my life. Fang Qi grinned with some difficulty. The divine technique on his body quickly faded. His strength also went all the way down like the tide, directly falling to the existence of the fourth level of Celestial Realm. But even so, for the current Yi Shiwen, he was still a terrifying master. Fang Qi immediately sat in the sky and healed himself. He could see that Yi Shiwen did not have any malice towards him. Otherwise, he would not even need to do anything. He could just watch Cho Hongchang behead him. There was no need to go through so much trouble. You're welcome. It's nothing, Yi Shiwen said. He didn't step forward but took advantage of this time to restore the Jun Yuan that had been drained from his body. However, the Jun Yuan inside his body was enormous. It was more than 10 times more than an ordinary person's Jun Yuan. Usually this was an advantage, but now it was very difficult for him to restore it. For ordinary consumption, he could recover to the peak state in a few breaths. After all, the name of the Phoenix regeneration technique was not in vain. After a long time, Yi Shiwen's Jun Yuan finally returned to its peak, and he found that his Jun Yuan had actually increased a bit. This was a miracle for him. He had also found a way to quickly increase his quintessential essence. However, although this method was good, it was not easy to use. This was because, with his huge quintessential essence and terrifying recovery speed, ordinary attacks would not be able to completely deplete his quintessential essence. This time, only the Emergence Immortal Exterminating Saber could instantly extract the quintessential essence from his body. He almost never stopped refining the Emergence Immortal Exterminating Saber. Although there was no formal refining method, with the deduction of the mysterious space, he could be considered to have mastered some sacrificial refining methods of the Emergence Immortal Exterminating Saber. He could freely control how much power it had. Otherwise, this Emergence Immortal Exterminating Saber had some demonic nature. If he was not controlled, it might suck away all his life force. It was because he had made a lot of progress that he dared to try to absorb all the power to launch a critical strike. This also meant that Yi Shiwen's control over the Emergence Immortal Exterminating Saber had improved. At this time, Fang Qi had also completed most of the treatment. Although he hadn't returned to his peak, but he was basically fine, Yi Shiwen hadn't guessed that he would use the divine technique to heal him. Otherwise, he would have already been healed. "Thank you, brother," Fang Qi walked over and said while cupping his hands. "I will never forget this life-saving grace." "No need, because I also want to know what's going on with the so-called Oracle Alliance?" Yi Shiwen asked with a hint of interest. Fang Qi's face suddenly changed, and his expression kept changing. Then he looked at Yi Shiwen and said, "Although brother is my life-saving benefactor, and I shouldn't hide it, I think it's better for you not to know about this matter. Otherwise, it may be a terrible disaster for brother." Fang Qi finally gave up the idea of killing him, and he could not help but warn, "Brother Fang, I probably know what you were worried about, but you don't have to worry." At this time, Yi Shiwen's body instantly released the aura that the god left on him. "You!" Fang Qi also looked at Yi Shiwen in shock, because he could feel that this was the aura left behind by a real god. As a god's envoy, he naturally understood this very well. "You are also an oracle?" "Yes." Yi Shiwen nodded. In front of others, he might not be able to say it, but in front of Fang Qi, he could say it. Most importantly, he knew that if he wanted to know more about the Oracle Alliance, he had to gain Fang Qi's trust. The best way to gain Fang Qi's trust was to show that he and Fang Qi were comrades in the same trench and that they could trust each other. "It's rare to see an oracle now." Fang Qi smiled somewhat bitterly. In the past, the oracle was so awe-inspiring. Wherever he went, everyone dared to not give him face. But now, he is like a stray dog, a rat on the street, running for his life everywhere. "I have recently become a god's inheritance oracle, and I am not very clear about many things. I don't know if you can help me introduce it. So, it's like this. No wonder I can see that although you have residual divine power, you don't seem to have any divine power at all," Fang Qi said. "It turns out to be a newly inherited oracle. It seems that more and more gods have awakened recently, and the number of oracles has gradually increased. I have never seen other oracles, and I have never heard of the existence of other oracles. What's going on?" Yi Shiwen asked. Fang Qi paused for a moment before continuing. "That's why we divine emissaries are like street rats, stray dogs, living in constant fear. It's fine now, but in the early years, all the major powers were frantically hunting down divine emissaries. If we were caught, we would be forced to reveal all of our secrets. At best, we would be able to keep our own lives, but the god behind us would definitely be discovered, and all of our inheritances would be severed. Who knows how long it would take for the god to awaken again? Yishuan frowned and said, "Why?" "Because those people are afraid that the gods will return again. In the mythological era, the gods used to rule the world, but now, the people who hold the authority of the ancient barons are the top leaders of these major forces. So how can they allow the gods to return? Once the gods return, it will be a disaster for them." Feng Qi said. Yishuan was secretly surprised. Fortunately, he hadn't announced that he was an oracles. Originally, he didn't take it to heart. After all, even the sons of gods were accepted and trained by everyone, let alone a trifling oracles. But now it seemed that the situation was completely different. No matter which race it was, seemed to have a reserved attitude towards the return of the gods. No wonder he had never heard them mention anything about the gods, and also had a reserved attitude towards the mythological era. Especially my human race. We are the most opposed to the return of the gods. Feng Qi saw that Yishuan didn't seem to know anything, so he couldn't help but explain. In the mythological era, the status of my human race was low, basically the lowest slaves, and even became the food of the demon race and sea race, until the rise of the almighty human race, which was different from the past. Almost all the gods of the various races were innate gods. My human race didn't have any gods in the beginning because we didn't have the protection of the gods, so our status was the lowest race. Later on, the gods of my race were born, and they led my race on the path of rebellion against the gods, which opened the prelude to the tragic war of the gods, until the mythological era disappeared, and the gods of my race also disappeared. Until that time, my race finally rose and became one of the overlords of the ancient barons. Yishuan silently listened. He didn't know that there was such a secret, but now, all the major forces had always been in the legendary state of the mythological era, and no one really knew what kind of state the mythological era was in. Perhaps his current status was still too low, so there was no way to know the true state of the mythological era. So, if it's not necessary, you absolutely can't expose the fact that you are a god's messenger. Otherwise, once people come to know about it, even the forces you belong to will not be able to tolerate your existence. Feng Qi said. Yishuan was stunned. If what Feng Qi said was true, then indeed, if people knew about his identity as a god's messenger, then perhaps even the Yi family wouldn't be able to tolerate him, and the god behind him was obviously a foreign god. For those gods who were born between heaven and earth, their race itself was dispensable, and originally they didn't have a race, so they couldn't tolerate the behavior of the gods of the human race because it was a betrayal to the ruling class. In his heart, he was secretly palpitating. If he hadn't listened to Feng Qi's words today, then perhaps he would have leaked it in the future, and that would have been a disaster. Chapter 14:16. Thank you for reminding me, Yishuan said gratefully. This is nothing. As long as you stay for a long time, you will naturally come to know that as a god's envoy, not only the major forces will hunt you down, but also the forces of each god's envoys will also fight against each other. Feng Qi said, Forces of God's envoys? Are there a lot of God's envoys? Yishuan asked. Not a lot, but in fact there are a lot of God's envoys. Our human race's God's envoys are the alliance of God's envoys, whose purpose is to protect our race for generations. Feng Qi said, but it's rare to see a new oracle like you. I've been an oracle for many generations. My family has been an oracle that protects my God for generations. This time, I thought that I would have to self-destruct in the end. I didn't expect to be saved by you in the end. I can't thank you enough. If there's anything I can help you with in the future, don't hesitate to find me. Yishuan waved his hand and said, It's nothing. Feng Qi pondered for a moment and said, Since you are a new God's envoy, then you certainly haven't joined any God's envoys' forces. How about it? Do you want to consider joining our alliance of God's envoys? If you join our alliance, you will have many benefits. You will also be able to communicate with each other on a daily basis. This will not affect your status and position in your forces, and we will also keep your identity a secret. Yishuan pondered for a moment and said, If that's the case, then I agree. He was very clear that his identity as a God's emissary was a half-baked one. Even the god behind him didn't explain it clearly to him. Therefore, even though he had become a god's emissary, he didn't know anything. Even Emo was currently in a deep sleep. It was impossible for him to ask Old Yi about these things. Otherwise, he was afraid that he wouldn't have a foothold in the Yi family. If he joined the God's Emissary Alliance, he might be able to know more. Well, I will go back to the organization to apply for you. As long as the application is approved, you can join the Alliance. At that time, some information and matters will be shared with you. Fong Qi said, "Today, I will immediately return to the organization to report this matter, and while I am at it, I will also report your matter to the higher-ups. You wait for my news." Then, Fong Qi bid farewell to Yi Shiwen and disappeared. Yi Shiwen returned to the small town that he was guarding. Today's matter had given him an enormous shock. Although his current battle prowess had already stepped into the first heavenly layer of Heaven Realm, but compared to these genuine top experts, there was still a huge gap. There was a huge gap between these people alone. There were also top-notch experts like Fa Wushuang and Yi Wudi on the Hidden Dragon ranking. Furthermore, there was Yi Qiong, who was at the level of the 5 hegemons. He would definitely be able to rank on the Soaring Dragon leaderboard. There were too many experts in this world, and he was still too inexperienced. If he really met such a top-notch expert, he would not be a match for them at all. Even when he heavily injured Cho Hongchong previously, it was because he borrowed the power of the Emergent's immortal exterminating saber and caught him off guard. Otherwise, with his own strength, even if he used all his strength, it would be impossible to seriously injure Cho Hongchong. Therefore, as soon as he returned to the small town that he was guarding, he immediately went into closed-door training. But soon, someone from the Yi clan came and directly issued a decree for Yi Shiwen to return to the Yi clan. Originally, Yi Shiwen came to the Heavenly Rain Palace to hide from the limelight. It was for the matter of the universe life and death diagram. Now, although there were still many people secretly eyeing the universe life and death diagram, it looked calm on the surface, so there was no need to worry so much. Moreover, although the battle between the Heavenly Rain Palace and the Mountain Sea Pavilion, as well as the Cold Whale clan, had entered a white-hot stage, in fact, Yi Shiwen could not play any decisive role, even if he stayed. Therefore, Yi Shiwen immediately returned to the Yi clan. Yi Shiwen had just returned to the Yi clan, and before he had time to return to the number 1 secret territory, he was stopped by Yi Qiao. Second brother, hurry up and save father and third uncle," Yi Qiao said while crying like a pear blossom in the rain. "What's wrong?" Yi Shiwen said with his eyes narrowed. He had a faint bad feeling in his heart. Yi Qiao continued to cry and said, "Father and third uncle have been dispatched to the Demon Realm's passageway battlefield." "What? How is that possible?" Yi Shiwen exclaimed. There was a huge rift between the Yi clan and the Demon Realm. Almost every moment, there would be powerful demons trying to break through the seal and rush to the ancient Baron's continent. However, in the past hundreds of millions of years, the Yi clan had been suppressing it, and nothing had happened. More than half of the tyrannical experts of the Yi clan were also serving there. However, it was precisely because of this that those in the Yi clan who went to the Demon Realm's battlefield were the strongest among the experts. Some tyrannical young experts would often apply to go there, and some could even break through to the other side of the Demon Realm to obtain many benefits that couldn't be obtained in the ancient Baron's continent. However, the battle in this place was also very intense. Ordinary people couldn't withstand it at all and would be directly bombarded to death. In addition, they had to fight against the demonic aura, so ordinary people would not consider going to such a place. Most importantly, applying for the passageway to the Demon Realm and being dispatched to the passageway to the Demon Realm were two completely different things. If you applied for the passageway to the Demon Realm, you would have a lot more choices, and your freedom of action wouldn't be restricted. However, if you were dispatched to the Demon Realm, you would be a quasi-soldier and have to obey the arrangements of the clan. Even if you were dispatched to the most dangerous place, you couldn't have any complaints. This was the place where the clan reigned supreme, and no one could go against it. Yi Xuan originally planned to apply for the passageway to the demon realm after a period of time and go to the demon realm through that place to obtain the demon king's inheritance that Yi Mo mentioned. However, this plan had to be postponed now because Yi Mo had fallen into a deep sleep and no one knew when he would wake up. If he went to the demon realm by himself, he wouldn't be able to find the place at all. Moreover, there were only 2 years left before the Imperial Court contest. Time probably wouldn't allow him to go to the demon realm. However, his first uncle and third uncle were dispatched to the demon realm passageway. This was completely beyond his expectations because this was simply impossible under normal circumstances. In addition to the clan soldiers attached to the clan, only some experts who wanted to obtain something would be stationed in the demon realm passageway. This battlefield had existed for tens of thousands of years, and precisely because of this, it was unknown how many experts of the Yi clan and the devil race had died in this passageway. There were certainly many medicinal pills, tools, and even secret manuals left behind. Even the bodies of those tyrannical experts were extremely rare heavenly treasures. Therefore, countless experts would be attracted to this passageway. Therefore, there was simply no one to guard this passageway. Therefore, under normal circumstances, other clansmen wouldn't be dispatched to this passageway. Therefore, this transfer order seemed particularly strange. However, this transfer order didn't violate the clan's rules. After all, the orders of the higher-ups had the highest authority. However, Yi Xuan immediately felt that there was something wrong with this. This was definitely not a normal situation. "Don't worry, I'm here for everything," Yi Xuan said with a smile. As if feeling the confidence in Yi Xuan's words, Yi Qiao also calmed down and smiled through her tears. In fact, if this continued, she would definitely have to go to the Eastern Sea region to find Yi Xuan. "What about Big Brother and Third Brother?" Yi Xuan asked. They also followed Father and Third Uncle to the Demon Realm passageway. "Now only I am left," Yi Qiao said. "Well, leave this matter to me. You don't have to worry about it. You just practice well?" Yi Xuan said. "Yes." Yi Qiao nodded. After comforting Yi Qiao, Yi Xuan directly rushed to the law enforcement hall and directly found Yi Shui, who was currently in charge of some matters in the law enforcement hall. "Yi Shui, can you help me check? Why were my big uncle and third uncle suddenly transferred to the Demon Realm passageway? According to their strength and status, if they did not apply for it themselves, generally, they would not be transferred there." Yi Xuan immediately asked directly. Yi Shui frowned and said, "I have also heard about your big uncle and third uncle. Originally, according to their situation, if it was not necessary, it was unlikely that they would be directly conscripted into the army. Our Yi clan has a clan army specially trained from a young age. Your big uncle and third uncle are only at the late stage of half-step celestial realm. There is no need to specially transfer them." "Then why?" Yi Xuan asked. "Do you still remember Prince Jean and Prince Yu of Golden Jade Pavilion that you have offended?" Yi Shui asked. "Why, it has something to do with them. Do they really dare to do anything?" Yi Xuan frowned and said with a chill in his heart. During this time, because Prince Jean and Prince Yu had been in a state of closed-door training, and his strength was also constantly improving, the people of Golden Jade Pavilion did not dare to directly find trouble with him. He thought that these people had stopped. Now it seemed that they did not stop at all. On the contrary, they were actually playing tricks behind his back. "Now I heard that Prince Jean and Prince Yu have both come out of closed-door training and have successively passed the heaven's retribution of Celestial Realm and rushed into the Celestial Realm in one breath. It is said that this matter even alarmed the clan lord," Yi Shui said. Yi Xuan said, "This is impossible. It is just the Celestial Realm. How can it really alarm the clan lord? In such a colossus like the Yi clan, there were countless masters. There were even many Celestial Realm masters. Although the birth of a Celestial Realm master was something to be celebrated, it was absolutely impossible to alarm the Yi clan lord to personally come out. What was the reason?" Chapter 14:17. Originally, Yi Xuan thought that the Yi clan wouldn't be able to make any more trouble. After all, He was now listed in the Hidden Dragon list. Regardless of whether he admitted it or not, he had to admit one thing, and that was that Yi Shiwen was no longer ordinary. It could even be said that his future was boundless. In addition, on the trip to the Wind King planet, he had established a good relationship with several of the Yi clan's top experts of the younger generation. He was no longer in a state of isolation and helplessness like when he first entered the Yi clan. Even Prince Jean and Prince Yu were gradually thrown to the back of his mind. Even if they both went into seclusion and entered the Heaven Tier, he was not afraid in the slightest. Who would have thought that something like this would happen? An ordinary Heaven Tier expert would naturally not be able to alarm the Patriarch. However, be it Prince Jean or Prince Yu, the two of them are the top experts of the younger generation. Before Yu, Yi Qianqian, and Yi Su Kong appeared, their status was almost equivalent to the status of the 5 tyrants of the younger generation. Otherwise, they would not dare to call themselves Prince Jean and Prince Yu. Is this a title that ordinary people would dare to give themselves? As time passed, people started to forget what they were originally called. Yi Shui said, "This is a kind of capital in itself. They are also registered with the higher-ups. How can they not pay attention to it at this time?" It is said that his parents died in the battle with the demon race, so he changed his name to Yi Zhenmo, meaning that he will never give up on the demon race. Since his debut, he has continuously made great contributions. Later, he guarded the entrance of our Yi clan and the demon world all year round. It can be said that he has made great contributions. Even our clan lord has to be courteous to him. Moreover, he has also taught many experts over the years. Apart from the 2 youngest disciples, Prince Jean and Prince Yu, there are many Heaven Realm experts, and one of the most famous is one of the 5 hegemons, Zhong Batian. What? Zhong Batian is also his disciple? Yi Shiwen said in astonishment. In the Yi clan, the status of the 5 hegemons was naturally needless to say. Just by looking at how Nan Batian could independently take charge of the Heavenly Rain Palace, one could know that as the 5 hegemons gradually grew up, they would almost become the pillars of the Yi clan's new generation. Among the 5 hegemons, the middle tyrant was the strongest. He was practically able to suppress the other 4 hegemons. It was because of this that he was given the title of the middle tyrant by busybodies. It was also because of his tyrannical strength. One could well imagine Zhong Baishan's reputation. It could be said that Yi Shiwen had heard of him, like a thunderclap piercing his ears. But now, he had heard that Zhong Batian was actually the disciple of Yi Zhenmo. He was also the senior brother of Prince Jean and Prince Yu. With such a senior brother and such a master behind him, it was no wonder that Prince Jean and Prince Yu still dared to cause trouble for him, even after he had entered the Hidden Dragon list. Among the old, middle, and young generations, their faction all had top-notch experts. It could be said to be Wan Shi's faction, extremely formidable. Yi Shui nodded and said, "Yes, Zhong Batian is the disciple that Yi Zhenmo is most proud of. Yi Zhenmo's temperament is eccentric and has offended many people. But because he has a disciple like Zhong Batian, his future is simply limitless. So, many people will not haggle with him, even if they look at Zhong Baishan's face. This has further aggravated his eccentric character. Even our clan master will be courteous to him, because he has not only made outstanding contributions, guarding the Devil Domain channel for many years, but also handed over such a disciple." When Yi Shiwen heard this, he immediately understood Yi Shui's meaning. With such a complicated relationship, this matter was more than just ordinary thorns. Originally, because Prince Jean and Prince Yu were in closed-door training, the Golden Jade Pavilion's movements were not big. So, Yi Shiwen ignored it. Unexpectedly, now that he had just come out of closed-door training, there was already trouble. Yi Shiwen was now worshipped by Yi Zhentian and became the young master of the law enforcement hall. It was not easy to deal with him, so they had to find a way to deal with the Luye City branch family. In other words, the Luye City branch family was actually suffering because of him. In fact, this order was personally issued by Yi Zhenmo. In the name of the need to fight against the demons at the front line, your uncle and third uncle were sent to the Demon World Passage. In fact, that is their territory. Yi Zhenmo has been operating there for many years. His power can be said to be deeply rooted. Your uncle and third uncle being transferred here can be said to be sheep entering a tiger's den. Yi Shui said. Damn it. Yi Xuan suddenly became furious. Despicable. If you have the ability, then come at me. Go to my family. What is this? How could Yi Xuan not understand Yi Shui's meaning? It was already very clear. In the Devil Domain channel, it was almost the territory that Yi Jinmo had been operating for countless years. In that kind of place, it could almost be said that his uncle and third uncle would definitely die. As long as they casually played a little trick and transferred them to the front line, then how could they not die? At that time, there would be no place to reason. Fighting in the Devil Domain channel, to put it in a small way, for Yi family, to put it in a big way for the human race, and even for the peace of the entire ancient wilderness, sacrificing a few people was nothing. Yi Xuan thought for a moment, and immediately figured out what they wanted to do. For this matter, the Hall Master has personally gone to find Yi Jinmo, but was blocked by him. It can be said that this matter has been grasped by him. Even if you find a clan master, it will be useless. Our Yi family has been able to continue to reproduce and prosper for so many years, relying on this system. Even the clan master can't overthrow this system for your matter. Yi Shui said. There was some helplessness in her tone. This matter had caused the law enforcement hall to be in a state of turmoil. After returning from Yi Jinmo's place, Yi Jintian had been in a state of rage. His roar could be heard even from far away. Yi Xuan also knew that if a force wanted to be able to prosper forever, the most important thing was the maintenance of the system. It was even more impossible for the Yi family's clan master to take the lead to destroy this set of system. Otherwise, the Yi family would also be destroyed. He was already very grateful that Yi Jintian was willing to argue with Yi Jinmo for him. Is there no other way? Yi Xuan said while gnashing his teeth. Yi Shui replied, the only way now is to wait for their service time to pass. Even if they are transferred to serve in the Devil Domain channel, it will not be permanent. The time limit is 2 years. If your uncle and third uncle can survive for 2 years, then they can naturally retire, and then they won't find a reason to deal with your family. 2 years, in such a dangerous place like the Devil Domain channel, there is danger every minute and second. It is easier said than done to survive for 2 years, not to mention that Yi Jinmo and the others are secretly plotting against us. Yi Xuan was burning with anger, almost burning through the vault of heaven. No matter what, I still have to thank you for this matter. I will go see the master. After Yi Xuan said goodbye to Yi Shui, he immediately went to see Yi Jintian. You have also heard about this matter, Yi Jintian said. His tone was still difficult to suppress the anger. He, as the head of the law enforcement hall, had personally come to Yi Xuan's place to clarify things, but was actually blocked by Yi Jinmo. This was outrageous. If this matter had been replaced by someone else, Yi Jintian would not have let it go. However, even if this matter was reported to the Patriarch, they would not be in the right. If Yi Jintian's temper was stubborn, like a stone in a latrine pit, smelly and hard, then Yi Jinmo's character was perverse and eccentric. His behavior was temperamental. Just like the weather, he would change his face at will. I also know that old guy, and I have known him for many years. Originally, he had guarded the Devil Domain channel for my Yi family for countless years, and I admired his perseverance and contributions, but now it seems that he is nothing more than an old man. Yi Jintian gnashed his teeth and said, in order to deal with you, he actually used such a despicable method. Does he really think that I can't catch his weakness and can't do anything to him? Why are you talking to me about the family rules? If you really want to talk about the family rules, I will make him cry every minute. Yi Jintian was burning with anger. As the head of the law enforcement hall, who could compare with him in terms of familiarity with the family rules? Many of the Yi family's rules had been revised by him, and he had kept them in mind. According to the family rules, then many people would not be able to escape. However, even an organization like the law enforcement hall sometimes had no choice but to turn a blind eye. Master, you have already done a lot for me in this matter, Yi Xuan said. This was also the truth. Yi Jintian had personally come to plead for him in this matter. This was simply a miracle for Yi Jintian, who Yi Xuan knew. Because of his relationship with the law enforcement hall, he was also very stubborn and methodical in doing things, especially when it came to such a big matter related to the survival of the Yi family. He was never confused. If necessary, he could personally charge to the front line, and he wouldn't even frown even if he died. But now, he was pleading for him in this matter. It was very normal for others, but for him, it was already very rare. Yi Shiwen was very grateful. Since it is a matter of us juniors, then let us handle it. I must make them pay the price. Yi Shiwen said. After saying goodbye to Yi Jintian, Yi Shiwen immediately returned to the number 1 secret territory. At this time, the number 1 secret territory was already very lively, especially in the human secret territory. Yi Shiwen, the tyrannical master who had directly sat in the human secret territory number 1 like a rocket, and Prince Jin and Prince Yu, the 2 traditional masters, had now stepped into the celestial realm. Their strength was unfathomable. Now that the 2 sides were finally going to fight, many people couldn't help but start to get excited. Chapter 14-18. The grudge between the 2 sides could even be traced back to when Yi Shiwen won the championship of the family competition. At that time, Yi Shiwen, who had obtained the 9 revolutions Taishan Golden Pill, became the target of both Prince Jin and Prince Yu. Not only Prince Jin and Prince Yu, but many people in the human number 1 secret realm were also coveting the 9 revolutions Taishan Golden Pill. However, what everyone did not expect was that Yi Shiwen's growth speed was too amazing. In just a few years, not even 10 years, Yi Shiwen had already grown to the extent of dominating the human number 1 secret realm. This also made many people give up on the idea. After all, although the 9 revolutions Taishan Golden Pill was good, it could only be enjoyed if one was alive. Wouldn't it be suicide to provoke this little overlord? Later on the Wind King Star, there was news of Yi Shiwen killing the Wang family's celestial being realm master. It made him famous almost instantly, and he was pushed to the teeth of the storm. After that, whether it was the universe life and death diagram fragment or the fact that he was ranked 20th on the Hidden Dragons list, it made him a well-deserved king in the human number 1 secret realm. Although Yi Qianqian and Yi Shukong had also entered the celestial being realm, they did not challenge Yi Shiwen's status as the king of the human number 1 secret realm. Yi Qianqian did not need to be mentioned. In many people's eyes, she and Yi Shiwen had a good relationship. Many people even maliciously speculated that the 2 of them had an ambiguous relationship. Otherwise, why would Yi Qianqian defend Yi Shiwen so many times? When this speculation first came out, it also made many of Yi Qianqian's pursuers wail. For them, it was like a bolt from the blue. They had not even made a move, and Yi Shiwen had already taken her away. Even the celestial being realm masters in the human number 1 secret realm were dissatisfied with Yi Shiwen. But now, as Yi Shiwen's strength became more and more tyrannical, and after shocking the Yi family many times, everyone seemed to gradually accept this fact. Yi Su-kong, who was originally thought to be Yi Shiwen's strongest opponent, and many people thought that he could easily crush Yi Shiwen, had no intention of challenging Yi Shiwen's position as the king of the secret realm. He was practicing all day long, just like an ascetic. And it was precisely because of this that in everyone's opinion, the 2 people who had the qualifications to challenge Yi Shiwen were indifferent. Everyone also gave up on this idea and gradually accepted the fact that Yi Shiwen was the master of the human secret realm number 1. Unexpectedly, Prince Jin and Prince Yu had come out of closed-door training one after another and entered the celestial realm. This was a very big thing for the entire Yi clan. Before Yi Shiwen, Yi Qianqian, and Yi Shukong appeared, Prince Jin and Prince Yu were in the limelight. Although they might not be the strongest in the human secret realm at that time, they were the top experts among the younger generation. Coupled with the conflict with Yi Shiwen, they almost became the target of everyone's attention. Many people also knew that the Luoye City branch family was suddenly transferred to the Demon Realm channel. With such a fuse between the 2 sides, how could they coexist peacefully? And when Yi Shiwen's figure appeared in the human secret realm, the entire secret realm was in an uproar. Countless tyrannical divine senses swept over. Everyone was looking at Yi Shiwen, waiting to see what he would do. Yi Shiwen, are you okay? After Yi Shiwen appeared in the human secret realm, Yi Qianqian's figure also appeared in front of him. Yi Shiwen looked at Yi Qianqian's jade-like pretty face and said with a smile, I'm fine. It's just that some people are tired of living. Let me help you, Yi Qianqian said. With just this sentence, she expressed her intention. No matter what kind of enemies, she was willing to face them together with him. No need. It's just a few rotten fish and shrimps. They don't need your help. There's no need to use a butcher's knife to kill a chicken, Yi Shiwen said with a cold smile. How could he not know Yi Qianqian's good intentions? Yi Qianqian was able to cultivate all the way to where she was now. Naturally, there was a huge force behind her. She was afraid that Yi Shiwen would suffer losses. If she also intervened in this matter, Yi Zhenmo would have to be cautious no matter what. However, he did not want Yi Qianqian to be involved in this matter. 10,000 people came, and I went alone. Yi Qianqian was silent for a moment, then nodded. It seems that Yi Shiwen is really angry. Yet being dealt with in such a way, if it were me, I would also be burning with anger. Unfortunately, because Yi Shiwen's strength is improving too fast, plus he is a genius that the higher-ups of the family pay attention to, it is too difficult to deal with him. In this case, it is better to deal with the people around him. Countless divine senses in the surroundings began to converge. At this time, a few figures leaped over. It was none other than Hui, Wu Pingjiu, and Yi Shukong. After knowing the news of Yi Shiwen's return, they immediately left the secret territory and rushed over. Yi Shiwen, do you need our help? Just say it. As long as you ask, we will definitely help you. Hui was the first to step forward and said, although I have not entered the celestial realm, I can still help you take care of some small fries. At this time, although Hui and the others had not entered the celestial realm, after the experience on the Wind King planet, their aura had changed dramatically from before. It could be said that entering the celestial realm was only a matter of time. At most, it would happen in the next 1 or 2 years. This speed was not considered slow. It could only be said that Yi Shiwen, Yi Qianqian, and Yi Shukong were too abnormal. That's right, I also looked down on Prince Jean and Prince Yu's methods. Their originally overbearing style is already annoying, and now they are even using such despicable methods. As long as you say the word, we will charge forward without hesitation. Yi Lanshan was still as forthright as ever. She was also very disdainful of this kind of thing. Wu Pingjiu on the side did not speak, but he also had the same intention. Otherwise, he would not have stepped forward. Now that they stepped forward, they had already drawn a clear line between themselves and Prince Jean and Prince Yu. I can help you. They're just chickens and dogs, Yi Shukong said, his eyes shining. The last time Yi Shiwen personally covered his retreat, it was also a great shock to him. Ever since he was young, no one had ever done so much for him. He had been constantly cultivating since he was young, just like an ascetic. He was extremely proud in his heart because he was the son of God, and those of the same generation were not worthy of associating with him. Yi Shiwen was the first person to defeat him, but he was also the first person who was willing to risk his life to cover his retreat. At this time, he directly stood up and expressed his support for Yi Shiwen. Seeing everyone's support, Yi Shiwen suddenly felt a warm feeling in his heart. However, he had already decided not to involve them in this matter. So, he immediately said, no need. Just leave this matter to me. As you said, it's just a chicken and a stray dog. There's no need for you, the Son of God, to take action. Yi Shukong grinned. If these words were said by others, Yi Shukong would not care at all. However, these words were said by Yi Shiwen, so the weight in his heart was naturally different. These are all the top powerhouses in our human secret realm. Now they have actually stood up to support Yi Shiwen. I didn't expect that he has already expanded such a network in just a short time since he came to our human secret realm, making these arrogant geniuses say that they are willing to fight for him. Yeah, I'm afraid this Yi Shiwen is not that simple. Now he has gathered the support of so many people. These people are all God's favored ones. Which one of them does not have the support of a colossus behind them? Even Yi Zhenmo would have to consider the attitude of these people. Yeah, this matter itself is problematic. I also feel that it is not appropriate to do this. Even if you have any conflicts with Yi Shiwen, just go for him. Why do you have to use such a despicable method? It will only lower your status. Everyone in the human secret realm was secretly speechless. Yi Shiwen's network had expanded to such an extent. They still vaguely remembered the situation a few years ago, when Yi Shiwen had just come to fight in all directions. At that time, he almost had no friends, and many people were very dissatisfied with him entering the Heaven's #1 secret realm. Yi Shiwen walked out of the crowd and flew directly to the human secret realm #3 and #4. Fortunately, the first 10 human secret realms were gathered in one area, so there was no need to worry about not being able to find them. Yi Shiwen flew above the human secret realm #3 and released his tyrannical aura without reservation, instantly shrouding the human secret realm #3. Prince Jean, get out here! Yi Shiwen's roar directly shook the entire human secret realm #3. Even with the protection of the formation was still shaking violently. If you don't get out, then don't blame me for smashing this place to pieces. Although the formation of the secret realm in the human secret realm was said to be able to block the attacks of celestial realm masters, no matter what kind of formation it was, it could not really block the indiscriminate attacks of celestial realm masters. Did he think he would be fine just by hiding in the formation? He was too naive. Of course, attacking the formation would definitely be punished by the family. But Yi Shiwen, who was already furious to the extreme, could not care about this. You are Yi Shiwen? At this time, a slightly doubtful but somewhat cold voice came from behind Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen turned around and saw a man in his 20s, dressed in a luxurious robe, with a jade-like face. At this time, he was staring at Yi Shiwen. Yes, I am. Are you Prince Jean or Prince Yu? Chapter 14:19. That's right, I am. Are you Prince Jean or Prince Yu? Yi Shiwen glanced at the person and asked, I am Prince Yu. The young man sneered and said, he has already gone to the Demon Realm channel, so you don't have to think about calling him out. There are only some small fries left inside. Why? Are you interested in small fries? Yi Shiwen laughed and asked, was it your idea to transfer my uncle and third uncle to the Demon Realm channel? It was my idea. Prince Yuan Jin wanted to kill them directly, but I think it's meaningless to kill them directly. Just like how a cat has to play with a mouse before eating it. Prince Yu had a cold smile on his face. I have heard a lot about you during this period. How is it? Do you feel powerless? This is the power of the collective, the power of the system. Their words reflected the completely different personalities of the two. Prince Jean was obviously more irritable, while Prince Yu was more cold. Then let me tell you, not all the time, the power of the system is useful. For example, now, Yi Shiwen said with a cold smile, You? I'm a celestial realm expert. Who do you think you are to be so presumptuous in front of me? Prince Yu shouted and waved his hands. Suddenly, thousands of flying swords flew out. Each of the flying swords bloomed with brilliant light, forming a long sword river that instantly blasted towards Yi Shiwen. Let me show you the means of the celestial realm. Celestial realm? What's the big deal? I don't even like killing anymore. Yi Shiwen shouted. Today, I will break your Taoist heart and let you see the gap between us. The system is nothing. I want you to never dare to go against me. A long sword condensed from sword intent appeared in Yi Shiwen's hand. The sword light shot out for hundreds of feet and directly slashed towards the long sword river. Boom! With a loud roar, the entire long river was blasted into a huge gap on the spot. Then, the sword light in his hand broke through like a hot knife through butter. Everywhere Yi Shiwen passed, Prince Yu's flying swords were all shattered on the spot. The sword light expanded with the wind and instantly grew to hundreds of feet long, heading straight for Prince Yu's face. How can he be so powerful? Prince Yu was extremely shocked and retreated again and again. However, Yi Shiwen's sword light grew faster than he had imagined. Whoosh! The sword light directly penetrated his body. Prince Yu managed to avoid the sword light in time, but Yi Shiwen's sword light still slashed out some blood mist. The next moment, Prince Jade appeared more than 10 miles away. He looked at Yi Shiwen coldly. There was a blood stain on his shoulder that was unusually conspicuous. No matter how fast he escaped, he was still cut by Yi Shiwen's sword light when he was caught off guard. If he was slightly slower, even his arm would have been chopped off. His eyes flickered. He had heard some rumors about Yi Shiwen before, but he didn't believe them at all. Who knew that he would get such a huge surprise because of his previous negligence? Today, I will make you pay for what you have done, Yi Shiwen shouted loudly. Then, the sword light rose against the wind and soared up to several thousand feet into the sky. Then, it fell down with a loud rumble. Courting death. Prince Jade roared angrily and attacked directly. He reached out with both hands, and suddenly, a huge jade-like mountain range came crashing down, crushing down directly. Without any warning, this jade mountain exuded a terrifying danger that made people's hearts palpitate. Boom! The sword light and the jade mountain collided fiercely. It was like two divine objects were locked in a stalemate in the sky. For a moment, no one gave way to the other. So powerful. This Yi Shiwen has such powerful means. They all said that he killed the Wang clan's celestial realm expert on the Wind King planet. Now, it seems that it's almost true. Hiss. He is already so terrifying when he is only a half step into the celestial realm. If he steps into the celestial realm, how powerful will he be? Won't he be able to compete with the 5 hegemons immediately? The confrontation between the two directly attracted countless people's discussions, especially since it was the first time Yi Shiwen displayed the combat power of the celestial realm in the human secret realm. Such a confrontation of the celestial realm might not be considered much in the Earth's secret realm, but just in the human secret realm, it was already a scene that was rarely seen in 100 years. Because, generally speaking, after stepping into the celestial realm, they would enter the Earth's secret realm, and rarely would they stay in the human secret realm. Moreover, generally speaking, it was very normal for only one person to step into the celestial realm in a dozen years, or even a few decades. It was very difficult to gather more than 2 celestial realm experts. It was even rarer to see 5 celestial realm experts gathered in the human secret realm at once. Moreover, the confrontation between the two even attracted the attention of the experts in the Earth's secret realm. More than a dozen extremely tyrannical divine senses swept over, seeming to be investigating the battle within. For them, a normal battle of a half step into the celestial realm might not be worth their attention at all, but a battle involving the celestial realm was enough to attract their attention. I'll let you know why I'm called Crown Prince Jade. Crown Prince Jade sneered, opened his mouth, and a green sword light directly shot out. This was a shocking sword aura that he refined after collecting the jade essence in the world. Under this attack, even a celestial realm expert would still be killed on the spot. He was already an expert of the heaven tier. Martial artists who had reached this level could already be said to have become one with heaven and earth. It was precisely because of this that all martial arts, in their hands, would be able to display great might, even far surpassing the terrifying might of their original moves. Originally, this wasn't a sword technique used for a surprise attack. What kind of status and strength did he have? Why would he need to launch a surprise attack? However, he chose to launch a surprise attack in the battle with Yi Shiwen. The reason was none other than because he truly felt the threat that Yi Shiwen posed to him. He knew that even if he could defeat Yi Shiwen using normal methods, he might not be able to kill Yi Shiwen in a short time. In that case, even if he won, he would lose face. As for whether his reputation was good or not, he did not care at all. The winner would not be blamed. Dang! With a loud roar, his jade sword stood on a huge cauldron. It was the 8 treasure heaven and earth cauldron's automatic protection. You have indeed practiced the natural scripture, and even an ordinary first sky of heaven realm expert can be easily beheaded by you. But this is not the basis of your conspiracy against me. If you only have this level of strength, then you will not be able to escape today. Yi Shiwen sneered and shouted. Crown Prince Jade lived up to his reputation. Even though he had just broken into the celestial realm, he was already above most experts in the same realm. Killing an expert at the first level of the celestial realm with ease was definitely not a joke. It was even comparable to when Yi Shiwen had just stepped into the early stage of the half-step celestial realm. Amazing, these two are so amazing. They are both the best among the younger generation of our Yi clan. Their cultivation is so terrifying. Although this Crown Prince Jade is arrogant, he does have the strength to be arrogant. When we just stepped into the celestial realm, we definitely did not have this kind of strength. But that half-step celestial realm brat is even more amazing. Even such a surprise attack could not kill him. It is so scary. This kind of strength is simply shocking. If he stepped into the celestial realm, wouldn't he immediately reach the standard and strength of the Heaven's secret realm? Is this still the combat strength of a half-step celestial realm person? But it can't be wrong. I did not see it wrong. He has not stepped into the celestial realm and cannot merge with heaven and earth at all. Otherwise, this Crown Prince Jade would probably be defeated in one move. But there is not much difference now. It is a pity that such a proud person like Crown Prince Jade is going to fall in Yi Shiwen's hands. That exchange of blows not only shocked the experts in the human secret realm, but also some of the celestial realm experts in the earth secret realm who were alarmed. Some of them were even extremely powerful experts in the celestial realm. But according to the rules, as members of the earth secret realm, they could not go back. Using their primordial spirit to observe like this was already the limit. They could not go back and check with their own eyes. Of course, the most shocked was not the others but Crown Prince Jade. His heart was like a tsunami. In his heart, he actually had a trace of fear towards Yi Shiwen's strength. Initially, he didn't care about Yi Shiwen's achievements. He never believed in rumors. However, he didn't expect that Yi Shiwen would be so terrifying after a real fight. His surprise attack couldn't hurt Yi Shiwen at all. How terrifying was his true strength? Fortunately, he had not stepped into the celestial realm. Otherwise, would he still have a way out? Fortunately, he hasn't entered the celestial being realm and can't use the one with the world. If such a person grows up, he will be a disaster. We must kill him as soon as possible. Prince Jade's eyes flickered with ferocity, and he looked eager to try. He had already lost all hope of being able to kill Yi Shiwen in the future. He already knew very well how terrifying Yi Shiwen was. When he stepped into the celestial realm in the future, there would be no place for him to stand. Although he was also making progress, how could he not distinguish whether the half-step celestial realm or the celestial realm was progressing faster? The stalemate in the sky continued. Prince Yu's Jade Mountain was also a precious treasure, heavier than Mount Tai. At this time, it was as if the entire mountain range had completely crashed down. Yi Shiwen's divine power was even more amazing. With the great accomplishment of Tyrant Body, he could immediately pull up the mountains and rivers. Ha! Prince Yu let out a long roar, and his body faintly merged with the entire heaven and earth. Unity of man and nature. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.